Hello and welcome to BYJU'S IAS. Final results of Civil Services Examination 2020, commonly known as IAS examination, has been declared, and total 761 candidates out of lakhs of aspirants have been selected. Today we are joined by the toppers of this examination to discuss and understand the nuances of the most prestigious examination of our country. So, we have with us Mr. Gaurav Budania, All India rank 13. We have with us Mr. Vasu Jain, All India rank 67. We have with us Miss Srishti Singh, All India rank 78. And we have with us Miss Aradhana Gupta, All India rank 760. Welcome to BYJU'S and thank you all for joining us. Let us start with Vasu.
Yes, sir.
I am reading a tweet that you posted on 20th of October 2020, last year. Inshallah, boy didn't play bad, but the best is yet to come. That tweet you posted when you failed in the final leg of this examination. You couldn't clear your interview. And you knew it very well that now you have to start from the scratch. And again, exactly after 1 year, on 9th of October 2021, you tweeted, he tweeted about his failure last year, but with a promise to clear civil services examination this year. And he did it. It's me, Vasu Jain. My first question is, what made you so sure about your success?
So last year when the results were declared, my name was not there in the final list. So that was obviously a rejection setback for me. But when the marks were declared, I saw that my performance has been at par with the toppers in various papers, GS 1, 2, 3, the law optional paper. So I had performed good at par with them. Only 2 papers I didn't perform well, and that I got to know that these are the areas I need to work upon. So that gave me confidence that if my preparation in other papers is really good, I just need to brush up my 2 subjects. So that gave me confidence, and with that I tweeted that I would be studying again. I would be preparing for those papers, and it was not a promise. It was just my belief in myself that if I could reach at this stage with at this preparation with little more hard work, I can certainly make it to the list. I was not expecting 67 rank, but I was certainly expecting something good, and God has been kind to me to give me double-digit rank.
Great. No, that's really so positive and so spirited you were feeling, because when you fall from the peak, so many students, they get demotivated.
Yes.
They think that now they have to start with lots of uncertainties. Is it my cup of tea or not? Should I continue with IAS preparation or not? So this tweet can come only from an enlightened soul, because when you fail and then you post such tweet, what would be your advice to those students who get demotivated after initial setbacks? Though they start with great enthusiasm, but after initial setbacks, they get deviated. What would be your advice to them?
So I think UPSC is a journey which one can clear only with certain values and positive mindset in your character, and that is being tested in this examination. That one thing need to develop the positive attitude. So if one has reached say interview level, the personality test level, or even cleared prelims, that shows that he has acquired a good depth of subjects, and he can certainly clear it. So that he should take proud of. He should not take rejection or failure at any stage as not being able to making it to the list, or bringing self-doubt in oneself. You should rather take it that I have reached this level, and with some more hard work I can clear it. So in my first attempt I could not clear prelims itself, but I was so sure that my prelims paper was not that bad. With a limited preparation, my marks from the cutoff would be slightly less. That was even in that rejection, I was sure that my preparation has not been bad, and with little more effort I can clear at least prelims examination. So I would say, with positive mindset, belief in oneself and belief in one's preparation can keep one motivated.
So that positive mindset is needed.
Definitely, definitely.
Plus analysis, an honest analysis of your weaknesses. Where are you lacking behind? That you did after falling from the peak. And what about number of hours? Did you increase that? What changes did you undertake? Like in your second attempt, you cleared your prelims, you cleared your mains. You couldn't make into the final list.
Yes, sir.
So what strategic changes did you do to enhance your performance apart from positive mindset?
So I think one is the best judge of oneself, and if one sees one performance where he feels more confident and where he feels less confident, those areas you need to identify and work upon. So for me, I identified GS paper 4, that is ethics, and essay were two papers which I need to work upon. My law option was good, other GS papers were good, so I was more confident on them. So I didn't increase my study hours per se, because I had been studying for around 8 to 9 hours throughout the lockdown and after that. But I focused or put more energy or more time, devoted more time to those two papers, essay and GS4, and that has been reflected in this year's performance. So if you could channelize your attention to certain areas which you think you need to work upon, that would be a good choice. It's not just hard work, it's smart plus hard work, which would help you gain this.
So your essay and paper 4,
yes, sir,
that actually took you to this level.
Yes, sir.
Great. Srishti, you are an engineer.
Yes, sir.
And only child of your parents.
Yes, sir.
You have been offered 100% scholarship by a very distinguished university in America.
Yes, sir.
You could have accepted it. You could have earned in lakhs and lakhs of dollars. Why did you decide to go for civil services and stay back in India?
So my decision comes from a variety of experiences which I have had throughout my life. First of all, being a single child, this always came from my upbringing, that I need to give back to the society, because I always felt that even if I belong to a middle class family, I am to a more privileged family, because the amount of care, the amount of attention I am getting and receiving, it's not in case of most children of this country. Also, seeing my parents, seeing my father working in a government job, I realized the intricacies of a government job and how the administration influences the lives of common people. Then when I went to the college, my first decision was to pursue a master's from a US-based university. But I was an active participant of street plays in my college days. And I always used to research a lot. I was the part of the research team. There I realized that the country has laws on each and every single concern of the citizen. But the implementation of these laws have not been at par for some reasons. And I always thought that why is this the problem? Why is this persisting? So when I looked upon it, I always came to this conclusion that the execution part of these laws, these policies have been lacking in some ways or the other. Slowly and steadily I realized that a person can contribute to this shortcoming of the country if he or she joins administrative forces. And this gave me a boost to prepare for this examination. And added support was my father, who always wanted me to see me in the administrative forces, so he always motivated me to try for it. And then after my college, 2 months after I finished my BTech, I decided that I want to do civil services.
So you decided not to go to America.
Yes.
And you decided to stay back.
Yes.
And you prepared for the civil services examination and you cleared it with a flying color. What is your take on working professionals? Like if I have to prepare for my IAS exam, do I need to quit my job, or can I continue with my preparation alongside remaining in the job? So because you have seen both the aspects of this. So what is your take and advice to those students who, because so many students, they keep asking, should I resign?
Right, sir.
So what is your take on that?
So when I began my preparation, I left my campus placement and then decided to pursue this, because somehow I was in this situation that I could leave my job and my father was ready to take care of all the expenses I was going to incur during the preparation. But this is not the case with every student, and I understand this. I have a very inspiring story of a senior who qualified engineering services, though not civil services, but the exam is equally tough and also conducted by UPSC, and she qualified that paper while her job was on. So I always asked her this story, that how did you do this? And she always told me that even if I contribute 5 to 6 hours daily and manage to get a weekly off in a month, 1 week off, or some leave, some weekends, and I participate and use that time in my preparation, it is possible, and it is quite easy to do this if you have supportive staff and supportive seniors. So the first thing is to get your team in which you are working in touch with your preparations, and also keep them aware that you are preparing for certain examinations. And I believe professionals can also do this, but it is necessary that they stick to their timelines and goals and do not breach it. They should not compromise with their preparations because of their official or professional goals.
So means I can clear this exam while remaining in the job also.
I believe so.
So quitting the job is not the only solution, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Srishti. We are joined by another topper, ranker of this Civil Services Examination 2020. He cleared this exam twice in a row. Last year, in 2019, his rank was 371, and this year in Civil Services Examination 2020, his rank is 663, Mr. Dhavalendu.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Dhavalendu, it was your 5th attempt,
Yes, sir.
and though you cleared this exam in 4th attempt also, my first question is it worth it to spend 6-7 years and devoting 6-7 years of your precious golden youth for exam, and which is unpredictable? So is it worth it?
I definitely think so, sir. I think it's a long journey. It's 4 or 5 years. I took 5 attempts, but the point is that in this long journey, the things I have learned, the areas I have explored, the things I know about myself, not just about the society or general studies papers or my optional subjects. I knew the world or my country, my place as an individual, as a state. I knew many things in a diverse manner. And for me, the attempts were more of like my mistakes. It's not necessarily that the exam process can be difficult for any other person. And like people have said that they have given full-time preparation on this exam. I have not given full-time preparation. I have continued with my academics also. And I enjoyed both of the worlds. I mean to say that if I am into academics or into civil services, I think I will make the best of the services and best of the academics also. And definitely it's worth it. One thing I would like to mention here, that these 5 attempts, they were never like harassing. Obviously the exam pressure was there. Mental health is a concern for each one of us. But at the same time, the exam is something that we still keep missing. Like when we were aspirant and when we have cleared the exam, the 2 years difference I have seen. I'd like to be part of that process. Now I miss sometimes. I have to stick to the deadline or get disciplined on my own routine. That's something that we cherish. And though this journey is difficult, it's not easy for everyone. But I think it's worth it, and it's enjoyable.
Great. And second question is, what kept you going? You remain focused. You remain focused for 5-6 years. So what was the motivating factor?
Motivating factors is my realization, I guess. I believe, sir, for our happiness or anything, the most important person in our life is us. And when we feel satisfied and we feel motivated or curious about something, then it keeps us going. So that's the factor. And talking about academics or my professional journey or the experiences I had in my academic exposure, I realized that I can get the best of everything in this service only. So that was the greatest motivation. Although it's said that service is hyped and service explode and we should not take this like IAS or UPSC is not everything. But believe me that after giving 5, 6, 7 attempts or changing 3-4 services. There are many aspirants who will say this, but it's not the truth. This service means many things. This service means for me, a person who comes from a very humble background, a very small state, a very small town, and get this exposure, getting a chance to sit between all of you. That's something that I think it's worth it. It's something that will take your sweat, that will take your hard work, and I think we very definitely owe it.
Great. Now, my another question to you and Vasu both is, when students are struggling to clear their prelims, in my daily interaction with the students, they keep puzzling. Prelims is unpredictable. Prelims is unpredictable. But on the one hand, last year when I saw your tweet, you were sure that you will succeed. Dhavlendu, you cleared it in a row, twice successively. What made this unpredictable prelims so predictable for you? You were sure that you were going to come in the final list, and you cleared it actually. So first, you Dhavlendu, what did you crack? How did you crack the trick of this unpredictable prelims exam?
Sir, I think more of cracking it, I made my mind clear that I don't need this cutoff. I don't need to do everything. I don't need to slog off everything from the syllabus, and I don't need to get nervous. The moment I realize I can be equally good with staying calm, I think that cleared my prelims. The 3 attempts I wasted is because of prelims, and before that it was everything that there are multiple things. It's not that one person can be given the responsibility for that. That we have some assumptions. We have very deep, very strong assumptions about this exam. But the nature of this exam is that your no assumption will stand in front of it. So the assumptions of solving this much papers, or the assumptions of solving this much questions, this much deadline of this much limit of attempting this number of questions, I think these are not valid now. And now everyone realizes that if someone will not be afraid, someone will keep faith in their preparation, I think they will succeed. I started keeping faith in myself. I started keeping faith in the exam process, and I think that's the way we clear it. Everybody prepares and everybody covers the syllabus, solve number of tests or portions, but what needs that you understand the process of the exam. You understand UPSC's questions, you take your time, and you develop a discipline where you approach the paper like you have done before. Your practice makes the difference.
Okay. So practice makes the difference.
And
would you like to add something?
Sir, I completely agree with him. Like you said, it's unpredictable, but you can make it predictable with your practice. So the more you practice, the more connections you can make. I think prelims and mains both are not just about your knowledge. Knowledge would create a base which is required, but above the base, the certain landmark, you need to develop connections within different subjects, within different topics. And that could be done only when you have a calm mind, when you can withstand that 2-hour pressure. So that handling pressure, I feel, is very important thing in that exam room. So I feel 70% is your hard work, the practice which you have done, but 30% part of your preparation would be the handling of pressure. How do you keep yourself calm during those 2 hours? And
so practice of multiple choice questions or revision of syllabus. Practice means, would you like to specify that?
So both things, sir. Revision would consolidate your material, the subjects which you have studied, and practice will make you understand the connections between them. Practice of MCQs, the papers. Also, it will develop a technique of how you are going to attempt the questions, how many questions you would be attempting, how would you manage time. So that time management strategy, which we can call, that will be developed by practice. He might have a different strategy, she might have another strategy, but at the end of the day, one common thing would be how do we handle pressure of those 2 hours. So that, I think, that could be done by practice, and that the best practice could be when we can sit in an exam room. Like if me and my friends, there are 10 people in the group, if we 10 could sit together and write the paper together, that pressure would be there. Because when I am writing it individually, I myself, only I am aware of my performance, whether I have done good or bad. But when I am giving it in a group, so there is a pressure, oh, he has done well, he has been scoring 120, I have to score 120. So that pressure, which would be there in the exam room, would be developed when there is a group. So I think that really helps when we have a group and we practice with that group.
Good. So group dynamics plays very importantly, and that is why there was a research in America that is benefits of weak ties. Strong ties get you demotivated. Weak ties means you are from say Haryana, she is from Bihar, I am from UP. If we all three come together, ties would be weak because we don't know each
Yes,
other
sir.
since childhood. But we can learn so many things
Yes,
from
sir.
each other. Great. Gaurav,
Yes.
when I hear about Rajasthan, so many things come into my mind. Historical wars, palaces, fighters killing, and this caste struggles, etc., etc. What motivated you to drive away from everything else other than IAS? And you secured rank 13. What attracted you towards IAS?
सर जैसा कि जो हमारा आईएएस का एग्ज़ाम है सर, इसमें 3-4 चीज़ें होती हैं जो सभी को मोटिवेट करती हैं, सभी का वही फैक्टर होता है जनरली। सबसे पहले तो आपको इतनी यंग एज पे इतनी लार्ज स्केल पे सर्व करने का मौका मिलता है। मैं एक एग्जांपल के तौर पे समझाना चाहूँ, यदि हम सर 2 मिनट में मैगी बना लेते हैं, उसके बारे में भी यदि कोई कहता है कि ये मैगी अच्छी नहीं बनी तो इतना बुरा लगता है कि मैंने इसमें 2 मिनट इन्वेस्ट किया था और वो अच्छी कैसे नहीं बनी। मीन्स 2 मिनट का दर्द इतना ज़्यादा है। तो मैं ये सोचता था यदि मैंने अपनी पूरी लाइफ लगा दी किसी प्रोफेशन में, उसके बाद कोई कहेगा तुमने सोसाइटी को सर्व भी नहीं किया, तो मतलब जो 50 ईयर्स को वेस्ट करने का पेन कितना ज़्यादा होगा। दैट वाज वन ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट कि मुझे जितना जल्दी से जल्दी क्लियर करना है एग्ज़ाम, अदरवाइज़ वो चीज़ मुझे रियलाइज़ होगी बाद में कि मैंने इतना जल्दी क्लियर क्यों नहीं किया। तो सबसे पहला फैक्टर ये था। सेकंड फैक्टर ये था सर कि जो मेरा डिस्ट्रिक्ट है चूरू, उसमें लास्ट 45 ईयर से कोई आईएएस में सेलेक्ट नहीं हुआ। आल्दो आईएएस की जो अलाइड सर्विसेज हैं उनमें सेलेक्ट हुए हैं। तो एक वो मोटिवेटिंग फैक्टर था कि यदि मैं क्लियर करता हूँ तो यहाँ के जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके लिए एक मोटिवेशन बनेगा कि हाँ हम भी क्लियर कर सकते हैं। तो मेरे एक सर थे, वो हमेशा कहते थे कि इस इनफर्टाइल लैंड से एक फर्टाइल दिमाग का आना ज़रूरी है, अदरवाइज़ बाकी लोग डीमोटिवेट होंगे कि इस जगह से एग्ज़ाम नहीं निकल सकता। तो ये कुछ फैक्टर्स थे जो मुझे लगातार मोटिवेट कर रहे थे कि गो एंड वर्क हार्ड।
गुड। अच्छा, आपके बारे में जो कि मैं आपको पर्सनली जानता हूँ, तो आपने मेंस लिखा था इंग्लिश में।
जी सर।
लेकिन आप पेटेंटली हिंदी मीडियम के हैं।
जी सर।
तो आपने काफ़ी मेहनत करी होगी हिंदी से इंग्लिश में मेंस पूरे एग्ज़ाम को 1750 नंबर का एग्ज़ाम होता है, तो और हिंदी मीडियम से रिजल्ट वैसे उतने अच्छे नहीं आ पाते किसी वजह से। तो क्या सलाह है आपकी हिंदी माध्यम के स्टूडेंट्स के लिए कि वो कैसे अपने इस स्किल को बढ़ाएं, और आपने क्या किया था कि हिंदी के होकर के मेंस पूरा एग्ज़ाम आपने अंग्रेजी में लिखा?
सर इसमें हिंदी माध्यम के जो भी विद्यार्थी हैं उनके लिए मेरी यही सलाह है कि आप सबसे पहले कोशिश कीजिए कि आप पेपर कंप्लीट कर सकते हैं। माध्यम जब मैटर प्ले नहीं करेगा जब आप पेपर कंप्लीट कर लेंगे, और आपने जितना आपके पास नॉलेज है यदि वो आपने कॉपी के अंदर लिख दिया, उसको अच्छे से प्रेजेंट कर दिया, तो फिर माध्यम एक रोल प्ले करना बंद कर देगा। लेकिन मेरे साथ जो दिक्कत थी कि मैं उतना तेज़ हिंदी लिख नहीं पा रहा था, सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज मेरे लिए वो था। इसलिए मैंने इंग्लिश मीडियम को चूज़ किया, क्योंकि इंग्लिश मतलब लिखना मुझे लगा थोड़ा सा लेस टाइम कंज्यूमिंग है इसके लिए। तो यदि ऐसे विद्यार्थी हैं जिन्हें लगता है कि वो इंग्लिश में कन्वर्ट हो सकते हैं, तो वो ऐसा प्रयास कर सकते हैं। और इसके लिए सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आएगी वोकैब की, कि जो सब्जेक्ट की वोकैब कहाँ से क्लियर करें। तो मैं सभी को बताना चाहूँगा कि 6 से लेकर 12th क्लास की एनसीईआरटी सभी सब्जेक्ट की पिकअप कीजिए। उनके लास्ट के 2 पेज में ग्लोसरी होती, सारे सब्जेक्ट की मेन टर्मिनोलॉजीज वहाँ होती है। यदि उनके ऊपर आपकी कमांड है, बाकी आपको बेसिक ग्रामर्स की ज़रूरत है, जो आप लगातार प्रैक्टिस करोगे, न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ोगे, तो वो अल्टीमेटली आपके अंदर डेवलप हो जाएगी। आपको वोकैब सबसे बड़ी एक चैलेंज आता है, जो वोकैब आपका वहाँ से क्लियर हो सकता है। यदि हमें लगता है कि नहीं हम अंग्रेजी माध्यम में जाके उतना अच्छा नहीं कर सकते, तो हिंदी माध्यम में अच्छा कर सकते हैं। बस 3 चीज़ों का हमें ध्यान रखना है। पहला कि हिंदी माध्यम के सामने एक ये होगा कि रिजल्ट हमारा ख़राब रहता है, तो अंदर से डर चुके हैं। जब हम किसी वॉर को लड़ने जा रहे हैं और पहले से पता है कि हम हारने वाले हैं, तो हम हमारा बेस्ट नहीं दे पाते। तो सबसे पहले तो ये बिलीव करना है कि हाँ हिंदी से लिखेंगे और बेस्ट करके दिखाएंगे। जैसा कि मैंने बताया कि मेरे एरिया से मैं काफ़ी सालों बाद कुछ आया, तो ऐसा हिंदी माध्यम का विद्यार्थी भी यही सोच सकता है कि मैं अगली साल ऐसे स्टैंडर्ड सेट कर देता हूँ कि बच्चों को उससे मोटिवेशन मिले। तो पहला तो ये कर सकते हैं। दूसरा, जो इंग्लिश मीडियम के स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके सामने टॉपर्स की कॉपी होती है, वो उसके मॉडल आंसर को कॉपी कर सकते हैं कि इन्होंने क्या इनोवेशन किया, कौन सी केस स्टडी लिखी, क्या पॉइंट फॉर्म में लिखा। लेकिन हिंदी माध्यम के विद्यार्थी के सामने वो भी एक बड़ा चैलेंज आता है कि वो किसको कॉपी करे। एक रोल मॉडल तो हो जिसको फॉलो किया जाए। तो उसके लिए हमें इतना करना है कि इंग्लिश मीडियम की कॉपियों को देखना है कि वो कैसे लिखते हैं, वो इनोवेशन कि उन्होंने ये डायग्राम कब बनाया, फ्लो डायग्राम कब बनाया, चार्ट्स कब बनाए, मैप कब बनाए, वो हम पिकअप कर लेंगे। यदि हाफ मार्क्स भी हम इंक्रीज करते हैं हर क्वेश्चन में, तो 80 क्वेश्चन में ऑलमोस्ट जीएस के अंदर ही आप 40 जो मार्क्स है उसको इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं। और निबंध की जहाँ तक बात है, निबंध में हिंदी माध्यम का स्कोर इंग्लिश माध्यम से अच्छा रहता है हमेशा। तो और ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट की जहाँ तक बात है, तो वहाँ पे मुझे लगता है कि माध्यम उतना ज़्यादा रोल प्ले नहीं करता, जीएस 1, 2, 3 में रोल प्ले करता है। उसके बाद तीसरा जो एस्पेक्ट आता है हिंदी माध्यम के सामने कि करंट अफेयर, वो करंट अफेयर, डेली करंट अफेयर कहाँ से करें। हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर जैसा हिंदी माध्यम की कोई ऐसी पत्रिका या न्यूज़पेपर नहीं है जो उसको मैच कर सके। तो उसके लिए हम न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस सुन सकते हैं। जैसा मुझे बहुत खुशी हुई कि बायजूस ने जो हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर है उसको हिंदी में पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो उस प्रकार से हम जो क्रक्स है वो तो सीख ही सकते हैं।
करेक्ट, बिल्कुल
ये। और चौथी बात ये है कि हमें एक स्टेप एक्स्ट्रा रखना पड़ेगा। हम जो हमारी कुछ लिमिटेशंस हैं उनको एक्सक्यूज़ नहीं बना सकते। हमें यदि वो 100% मेहनत करें, हम 110% करेंगे, हम 120% करेंगे। ये एटीट्यूड आज से ही आपको दिमाग में लाना पड़ेगा कि अंग्रेजी माध्यम के जो विद्यार्थी हैं वो यदि 10 घंटे पढ़ रहे हैं, हम 12 पढ़ेंगे। हम हमारी नींद के 2 घंटे सेक्रीफाइस कर देंगे, बट वी विल फाइट हार्डर। तो ये 3-4 चीज़ें ध्यान में रखेंगे तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि रिजल्ट इम्प्रूव होगा।
ब्यूटीफुल, मतलब आपने बहुत ही अच्छी बातें कही कि अगर हिंदी माध्यम का विद्यार्थी कुछ एक सूत्र को याद रखे तो आराम से वो अच्छा रिजल्ट दे सकता है। जैसे ऑप्शनल में माध्यम का कोई रोल ही नहीं है। दूसरा, हिंदी से अंग्रेजी में कन्वर्ट करना भी बहुत आसान है। बुक के पीछे जो ग्लॉसरी होती है उसको देखकर क्या बना सकते हैं। हिंदू का जो न्यूज़पेपर है उसकी भी समरी हिंदी में आ रही है। बिल्कुल ठीक कहा आपने, और ये बिल्कुल सही कहा कि हमने बैजू ने भी इसको बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से सीरियसली लेना शुरू किया है। गुड। आराधना, you are our classroom student as well, and I know you personally for the past few years. I know that you really passed through some difficult phases in your life. You are a girl. What difficulties did you face and how did you overcome?
So, I wanted to become an officer from an early age, and it was my father's dream for me that I clear the services and get into it. Unfortunately, I lost him at my school time only. I was in class 11th when I lost him. So that really like shifted the family dynamics, because the atmosphere changes. There's a lot of pressure on you to perform well, because now the society is looking at you from a different perspective. They're like, you have to prove yourself, and if you are not able to do anything, then also people question कि उसकी बेटी तो कुछ कर नहीं रही है, and things like that. I have an elder brother and he took over the business, as you know. So he was very busy. My mother was also very busy. So getting myself into the discipline of clearing this examination was on my own. Going to the college, getting back home, studying, revising. Like I have to see which classes do I have to join, what kind of preparations I have to do, how much time I have to give in the studies. I have to decide everything on my own. I had no help there. Thankfully, my college mentors were really good. I'm very thankful that at each stage of my life, I was blessed with amazing professors and amazing mentors, that including sir, you. So that really helped me. My college professors were also like, you should study study political science in a manner. Since I'm a political science graduate, they told me how am I supposed to study this so that I don't have to take a separate coaching for my optional. So they were also preparing for examination at that point of time. They were very young, but that really helped me. And then I went to BYJU'S, and being a girl, another major thing was that it really creates a setback. Going to the classes, coming back, or getting the household chores also done. It's a lot of responsibility that I had to face. But BYJU'S really helped. The classrooms were great. All the courses that I got, all the mentors for all the subjects, BYJU'S really cooperated, and the notes were really good. So that was really helpful for me.
थैंक यू आराधना। गौरव, आपने पहले प्रयास में निकाला।
जी सर।
और वो भी ऐसे इलाके से जहाँ पर कि आईएएस शुरू से नहीं निकले थे, एलाइड सर्विसेज में थे, और बहुत अधिक अवेयरनेस भी नहीं थी उस इलाके में। तो कैसे, क्या ट्रिक है पहले प्रयास में निकालने का? क्या इसे मुझे निकालना है, मैं तैयारी शुरू करना चाहता हूँ आईएएस की, तो बीइंग माय मेंटोर आप क्या सलाह देंगे कि फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में कैसे निकालें? मैं भी शुरू से ही आता हूँ।
सर, इसमें दो जो कोड थे वो मुझे ये चीज़ मतलब बताते थे कि जैसे आइंस्टाइन ने बोला था, यदि आपको कोई भी गेम खेलना है तो उसके रूल्स पे पहले कमांड कीजिए, देन प्ले देन बेटर देन एनीवन एल्स। यदि आपको रूल ही नहीं पता है, फिर यदि उस गेम में आप चले गए तो आप बार बार फेल होगे, और फेल होने के बाद वहाँ से रूल सीखोगे। तो पहला मुझे ये क्लियर था कि जब भी ये एग्ज़ाम देना है, पूरी प्रोसेस के बारे में पता होना चाहिए, क्या इसके रूल्स हैं, क्या डिमांड्स हैं, वो सभी पता होना चाहिए। दूसरा जो कोड था कि जो समझदार इंसान वही है जो दूसरों की गलतियों से सीखे, खुद की गलतियों से नहीं। तो मेरे जो सीनियर्स थे, जैसे कुछ फ्रेंड्स थे मेरे जो जिन्होंने 4-4, 5-5 अटैम्प्ट थे, और जिनकी ऑल इंडिया आईआईटी के अंदर बहुत अच्छी रैंक्स थी। मैं कहा ये इतनी 4-5 बार फेल कैसे हो सकते हैं? तो मैं उनके पीछे ही रहता था। मैं, भैया आपने क्या गलती की, क्या गलती की, आपने क्या अच्छा किया कि आप लगातार प्रीलिम्स पास कर रहे हैं, मेंस पास क्यों नहीं हो रहा, इंटरव्यू में क्या गलतियां हैं? मैं उनसे लगातार वो चीज़ें सीखता गया। अब जैसे प्रीलिम्स में प्रैक्टिस करना है हमें, स्टूडेंट बोलते हैं कि 60 पेपर लगाओ, 70 पेपर लगाओ। मेरा आइडिया ये था कि जो सीनियर्स हैं उनसे पूछो कि कौन सी टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स लगती हैं पेपर में। मैंने जो हम 40 पेपर के बाद सीखेंगे वो उनसे हम डायरेक्टली सीख लेते हैं। जो भी उन्होंने टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स मुझे बताई, मैंने एक पेज के ऊपर लिख लिया, एंड जब भी पेपर सॉल्व करता मैं उसको अपने सामने रखता। मैंने जब 15 से 20 पेपर लगाए, मुझे इतना कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया कि अब ये टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स मैं सीख चुका हूँ। और वो जो टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स थी, उनकी 4 साल की जर्नी थी वो, जो उन्होंने मेरी सेव कर दी। तो इसलिए हमें दूसरों से सीखना पड़ेगा यदि हमें अपना टाइम बचाना है तो ये मैं करता था। और कभी भी किसी को भी अंडर एस्टिमेट नहीं करना, कि जो ऐसे स्टूडेंट्स थे जिन्होंने अभी तैयारी स्टार्ट किया है, मैं उनके पास भी बैठ जाता था कि तुम मुझे कुछ बता दो। तो हमेशा स्टीव जॉब्स बोलते थे कि हमेशा आपके अंदर हंगर रहनी चाहिए। जिस दिन ये भूख खत्म हो गई ना, तो मतलब ये पूरी जो कायनात है वही खत्म हो जाएगी, क्योंकि इंसान जब से शुरू हुआ है तो ये भूख ही है जो उसको आगे ले जा रही है।
Correct.
तो ये भूख थी कि जो भी कोई मिलेगा उससे कुछ तो सीख ही लेंगे, 2 बातें किसी से भी सीख लेंगे। तो इसे कारण जो लगातार जो प्रोसेस थी लर्निंग की वो कंटिन्यू रही। तो मुझे लगता है कि वो और सब फिर जो गॉड का ग्रेस है कि ये सब फर्स्ट चांस में मेरे लिए हो गया।
तो आप 24 घंटे पढ़ते थे एक दिन में?
सर मुझे लगता है कि
डायरेक्ट बहुत ही कंफ्यूजन है। कोई कहते हैं 18 घंटे, कोई कहते हैं 12 घंटे। तो मुझे ये मैं 5 से आपसे प्रश्न पूछूंगा कि 24 घंटे पूरा पढ़ना पड़ता है? कितना देर पढ़ते थे आप?
इसमें भी मैं एक लोकल कहावत है वो बताना चाहूँगा। तो उसमें आपने भी सुनी होगी, 100 सुनार की 1 लुहार की। मतलब आप छोटे छोटे टाइम्स में पढ़ रहे हैं लगातार, लेकिन उसका कुछ सिग्निफिकेंट आउटकम नहीं आ रहा, तो वो डजेंट मैटर कि आप 15 घंटे भी पढ़ लीजिए, 16 घंटे भी पढ़ लीजिए। मेरा टारगेट कभी आवर्स में नहीं था। मेरा बस टारगेट था कि जो टॉपिक लेके बैठे हैं, यदि उसको 3, 4, 5 घंटे बाद उठेंगे तब ऐसा लगना चाहिए बस कि टॉपिक आज ख़त्म हो गया। ये इसके बाद ये टॉपिक है ना मैटर नहीं करता, उसकी जो कोर थीम है, उसका जो क्रक्स है वो समझ में आ जाना चाहिए हमें। तो बस वही कि एक बार टॉपिक लेके बैठे हैं, उसको उतनी देर तक मैं पढ़ता था जब तक मुझे समझ में नहीं आया। इसलिए मेरा जो स्टडी मटेरियल भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा वेस्ट हो गया था। जैसे कि मैं अर्बनाइजेशन पढ़ रहा हूँ, मैंने एक टॉपिक से पढ़ लिया, मुझे नहीं समझ में आया कि मैं वेबसाइट पे जाता, वापस चेक करता, अर्बनाइजेशन नहीं समझ में आया। मैं उसको जब तक पढ़ता तब तक मुझे लगता कि बस अब अर्बनाइजेशन से रिलेटेड कोई भी क्वेश्चन आए, मेरे पास सफिशिएंट हथियार है कि मैं उस क्वेश्चन को काउंटर कर सकता हूँ, तभी मैं उस क्वेश्चन को छोड़ता था। तो हो सकता है कि जैसे ज्योग्राफी के, इकोनॉमिक्स के कुछ कंसेप्ट थे जो मैं बैठता आधे घंटे में टॉपिक ख़त्म हो जाता, तो मैं फिर इंजॉय की, बस अब हो गया हमारा। और आर्ट एंड कल्चर में मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं पूरे दिन बैठा हूँ लेकिन लास्ट तक कुछ कंक्रीट नहीं निकल के आ रहा। एक होता है क्रेमिंग करना, एक होता है कि समझ में आ जाना कि ये पेंटिंग ऐसी ही क्यों बन रही थी। जैसा कि एक एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे हम देखें, अजंता की पेंटिंग्स हैं, तो उसमें कौन सा कलर था, कौन सी डिज़ाइन थी। एक होता है कि उसको याद कर लेना कि आपने याद कर लिया, दूसरा होता है कि आप समझो कि उन्होंने वो डिज़ाइन क्यों बनाई, उनके पास वो कलर क्यों किया, उनके पास अवेलेबल कलर वैसे ही क्यों थे। जैसे ब्लू कलर कभी नहीं था क्योंकि वो मुगल्स के, जो हमारे मुस्लिम के साथ आया था। तो वो जो चीज़ें थी उनके पीछे का जो कारण थे मैं उनको ढूंढने की कोशिश करता था। इसलिए मुझे कुछ टॉपिक्स में बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम भी लग जाता था। तो आवर्स मेरे लिए मैटर नहीं करते थे, जब एक टॉपिक मेरा कवर हो जाता तो मैं उठ जाता था।
गुड। एंड सृष्टि, डिड यू स्टडी फॉर 24 आवर्स अ डे?
एब्सोल्युटली नॉट सर। इस मामले में मैं बहुत ज़्यादा सर से एग्री करूँगी, 100 सुनार की एक लोहार की। तो ऐसे ही होता था दैट आई यूज़ टू पिक अ टॉपिक एंड वो जब मुझे लगता था कि आई एम कॉन्फिडेंट इनफ कि इसको मैं अब आंसर कर सकती हूँ तभी छोड़ती थी। देयर वर सर्टेन सेक्शंस जहाँ मुझे शुरू से ही कॉन्फिडेंट फील होता था, बिकॉज सिंस स्कूल डेज एंड कॉलेज में भी आई वाज समहाउ ऑलवेज इंगेज्ड विद सोशल स्टडीज़। दो मेरा कभी ऐसे तैयारी वाला रुझान नहीं था, लेकिन मे बी डेस्टिनी वॉज प्लानिंग इट्स ओन वेज एंड आई वॉज ऑलवेज knowing about things, reading in newspapers. I always read newspapers. तो and मेरे 8-9 घंटे में मेरा काम हो जाता था, बट मेरा ये रहता था कि if someday I have a topic which requires more time, or someday I have a daily target, I have a habit of setting daily targets, and if I had a target I had to finish it. उसको छोड़ के नहीं सोते थे, फिर भले उसके लिए रात में ज़्यादा जागना पड़े।
Good. Means 8 to 9 hours.
Yes.
Vasu, what is your take on that?
So I'll give you an anecdote. So my seniors used to say, or I have seen on various videos, कि you need to study these many hours,
Right.
double digit तो आ ही जाना चाहिए,
Right.
like more than 10 hours. So one day I decided कि today I'll touch 15 hours, and I sat for 15 hours. Not 15, 14 hours. Next 2 days I was sleeping. So in 3 days
Correct.
output was 14 hours. And if I had been on my speed like 8 to 9 hours that day, I would have covered around 24 hours.
Right.
But in 15 days, 3 days, my output was only 14 hours. 2 hours output. So even if I could touch a double digit in one day, my other 2 days were waste.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it's not about the number. It's not a number that you need to chase. These many hours I need to complete. What I used to do, I used to fix number of topics I need to complete. So suppose geography I am reading, this chapter needs to be complete, these many pages need to be done, irrespective of the time which is required. And according to that I used to dedicate my time. So it is not a number race, but a topic race. I have to cover these topics. Geography 1 month I have to complete, or this topic this many, and that was flexible. It was not that ek mahina, if it's one month, only 1 month. Sometimes, as Gaurav sir said, sometimes it takes time. Art and culture में time लग गया, और geography it takes time. So you need to have that buffer period also. Like after 3 hours of study, I used to give 1 hour buffer. Whether I'll take rest or study more or do something else, that depends on what I had done in those 3 hours.
Right.
So
right.
that was not a very strict compartmentalization, but I used to give buffers in daily schedule, in weekly schedule, so that if something is left, I could cover up in that buffer period. So in that way, I used to study.
Great. So means that was topic based. It was not number of hours is secondary or irrelevant.
Yes, sir.
So to complete a topic, how many hours it takes, you need to give, and it was flexible as well.
Yes, sir.
And you always had a schedule, plus there was a contingency plan, buffer period as well. Great. Srishti, you just said you read newspaper religiously on daily basis. As an IAS aspirant, how many newspapers do I need to study? 2, 3, 4, 5? How to make notes? Did you prepare notes also? And how to revise them?
So to me, newspaper is my source of cultivating a curiosity. And इस एग्ज़ाम में curiosity का कोई और substitute नहीं है. Unless and until you're curious about your own society, about whatever is going on around you, आप पेपर को एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से नहीं देख सकते, एंड दैट इज़ व्हाट आई बिलीव दिस पेपर नीड्स समटाइम्स. So I read the newspaper. I started with one newspaper. Though I was habitual of reading newspapers, I never read it as a UPSC aspirant. So in my initial days also, I used to take 1.5 hour in one newspaper. I reduced that time to half hour, 20 minutes eventually. And in my later days, and especially during my interview preparation, I even read 3 newspapers a day for broader information bank and perspective. But it doesn't matter if you read 1, 2, 3. It depends on how much time you're planning to devote in your own preparation to newspaper reading. Every aspirant has a different technique, and every aspirant looks at newspaper reading in a different manner. Some people even qualify through just going through the analysis parts or videos of newspapers. But for me, newspaper was more about keeping up with the interest in the everyday things which go on in the country, and not about making notes. And I never made notes of newspapers. I just read it for my own self. That's it.
So how did you memorize then? If I do not prepare notes, so how were you keeping track of different developments of a day?
So I believe our brain doesn't function like in this fashion. If we constantly update our brain about a certain situation through newspapers, if a news happens in the country, it is eventually covered in 3-4 days.
Right.
And you constantly update your brain for that amount of time regarding that particular news, it automatically gets saved somewhere in your mind. You do not need to know exact details to qualify prelims. You need to have that much idea so that you can make an educated guess or eliminate the unnecessary options.
Right.
So that is why I believe, sir, that note making is not necessary.
Not necessary. Or note making is not necessary. Dhaval, would you subscribe to this? How many newspapers? Because you are from international relations, you are doing so many things on German security and other things. So perhaps you must be reading 10, 11 newspapers?
Not 10, 11, sir, but definitely a sizable number. More than 3, sometimes more than. I also see international newspapers, I see journals and different websites, policy papers and other kinds of stuff. And like I said, like the ma'am said, I completely relate to that. But for me, note making was an important part. We definitely don't have photographic memory, and at times we need to get repetition is a key, that we find different sources and we find repeated sources. But at some point of time, if I have to give a definition of something, presentation is important part. Like we said, we need to put strong things in a small space. So we need to be exact about what we want to write and how we're going to present that. So when we make notes, it helps us get a bigger picture. At the same time, it gives us options where we can choose the perfect thing for our place, and then we can fit it. So that's the part. I guess it's a different for different people. In the earlier stage, I also never made notes for newspaper, but the newspaper part was, like ma'am said, it's a curiosity part. At the same time, it's not necessary that you will get question from that part, but definitely it broadens your space. So when you have a note, that means you don't have to go for different sources. You stick to your notes, and it's more like what we call about smart education or educated guess making or other things. I think that comes from those parts, because the notes are yours. You have control over your notes, and then you can present it in different manners as per your own choices, and that makes it more special.
Great. So means it becomes subjective,
Yes.
and 1 or 2 newspaper is sufficient.
Yes.
Number of hours is not that much important. It is topic based that you should study.
Sir, I like to interrupt. Sorry for that. In the initial stages, like we all start preparing, for one newspaper I used to take 3 hours. But that's the thing that built me. It's not necessary that we say that, like in this paper, in this thing, we are talking about assumptions and everything, how many hours and other things. What's the most important part? Like he mentioned, that conceptual understanding. If you have that part, you will not count hours. And obviously, before exam, 2 months before exams, or between the gaps between prelims and mains, everyone wants to have a disciplined life. For that, you count hours, or for that, you make a routine, you stick to that time. I'm an early riser. I will start early, but by the time it gets afternoon, I am already drained. So I can't go on hours. Same for the newspapers. You can get lot of content, but at the same time you need specific content for yourself. You have to sort it out, cut it down, and summarize it. And that matters. One newspaper is very much enough. At the same time, I see very informative videos. I have seen BYJU'S videos. I used to jog, or I have to see. That's a way of revision. That's a way now you have audio files, video files, and different kinds of things. So it's more like your comfort zone. If you are comfortable, you have a good base foundation, you can stick to that.
Great. You talked about schedule part. You talked about self-discipline part. I will take others' views also. So now talk about scheduling. Should I prepare a schedule? Because when I prepare a schedule, I never stick to it. It should be long term. It should be on daily basis. How to manage my daily routine? How important is this for the civil services examination?
Sir, I believe this is the most important aspect. It's not just for the examination aspect, it's also for your mental health. So when it's like we all have faced this, that we think we will study this much and that much, and that day is not fruitful. So we feel like wasted. Now we think about that now only one date is left and I have already wasted this much time. So we stick to a routine, we follow discipline, we decide our timetables, and we decide the courses, the syllabus we want to cover, the portion we want to do. So it's not necessary, it's something not necessary that I will make a plan for 3 months and I will stick to it. I will make a plan for 3 days. That's we evolve. I think it's a learning process. We take step by step. If we have to reach on the top, we take one step at a time. So I will make a plan for my next 3 hours. Then if I am getting better, I will make a plan for 6 hours. Then I will make a plan for 9 hours. Then 3 days, 3 months, and soon. At the same time, we need to keep our own progress. Many people join coachings, join test series, they have their own timelines they can stick to. People who prepare self on their own, they need to stick to self-discipline very strongly, and for that they need to make a progress report. What I used to do, after every time whenever I used to feel like that I have not used the day, or I feel frustrated that I am wasting my time, I used to write on my notes that how much portion I have covered. So I will feel like if I have studying polity or I have to study a book, I will think that in this much time I have studied 30%, 40%, how much I require to complete it and how much time I have left. So that's the way I think there are multiple planning options, and it's important to develop your own. So if you will develop your own, you will have confidence to follow it. You don't have to stick to anyone. If you have heard somewhere that you have to do this and that makes you uncomfortable, and that keeps you something that you have to climb a wall. It's not like that. The routine is very important, and everyone has a routine. A good sports person has a routine. I have read about that many good sports persons have superstitions, like they will touch their eyebrows, or they will touch their helmets or sporting gears. But the point is that they do it so that they don't waste time on thinking. Like if I am a sports person, I will tie my left shoe first. It's a habit. It's a habit we develop. In the same way, routine, syllabus, timings, it's the habit we develop as an aspirant, and that helps us a lot.
Great, Dhaval. Vasu, as an IAS aspirant, should I keep an alternative avenue open for me? I'm talking about plan B.
Yes, sir.
Like people say that you are preparing for IAS, very good, but you should keep your plan B ready as well. So do I need to be single-minded about civil services, or every aspirant should have plan B?
Sir, I think that is a very subjective call one should take, but there are certain considerations one can have over this. If one is preparing for civil services, definitely he need to be fully devoted to the preparation. There can't be second thoughts about the preparation in that case. But because no one is sure about what will be the outcome. So we all have those insecurities. I had those insecurities, and most of us sitting here would have faced those insecurities, those fears. So for that, if one had that fear in mind, constant fear in mind, plan B is not a bad thing to fall back upon. But that plan B should not be something which pulls you down or which makes you complacent. कि हाँ अब तो वो job तो है ही ना, I'll take up that job अगर नहीं भी हुआ तो. If that is the mindset one can develop, so plan B is a very bad thing, because that will not help you achieve a plan A. That is pulling you back. Plan B should only be there to give you comfort, as a cushioning effort if you are falling back, not to pull you down. So that is one thing. Second thing, I was preparing for civil services and UPSC civil service examination, and there has been almost no examination which I had not written. I have appeared for Rajasthan, UP, Haryana, SSC, IBPS. More than 40 examinations I have written in these 3 years tenure. And it's not that I had not performed well. Most of the examinations I have reached the interview stage, clear prelims of almost every examination which I have written. So I'm just saying this, although I was completely focused upon civil services, but to have something in hand, because I was having those insecurities, I appeared for different examinations. But I never lost my focus. So I appeared for Haryana, I appeared for Rajasthan, those state service examinations. But I never read or devoted my time to those examinations. The only time I used to devote to those exams was during traveling. So if my center is in Agra for UP, the time taken from Delhi to Agra, that would be the only time I would be reading about the exam. If there is any special thing about this examination, something I need to know about, or something I need to know about Uttar Pradesh in particular, that would be the only time, nothing else. From Delhi to Agra, then coming back to Agra from Delhi would be my relaxed time, and the day I reach Delhi, again UPSC civil service examination. So I will not lose focus from civil services, but I'll try to expand my areas without losing focus from civil services.
So plan B can be there depending on the nature of plan B.
Yes, sir.
Srishti, you had no plan B because you declined that offer of 100% scholarship by university in USA.
Yes.
So what is your take on that, plan B?
So I declined my offer from the university, then I left my campus placement, and then I came for UPSC. And the reason was what sir was talking about, complacence. So I always thought that if I have a plan B, I'll get complacent. And I thought I'm too young to be thinking about what would happen if I do not crack it. It was my first attempt, and I thought that I can take this chance in my first attempt to not have a plan B and just prepare for UPSC. I did not even fill a single other form, no PCS forms, nothing. I don't know why, but I always thought that if I'm preparing for this paper deserves my 100% attention, and somehow everything panned out, and I'm lucky that it did.
Great. अच्छा गौरव, आपसे एक बात पूछनी थी कि व्हाट इज द आइडियल स्टेज इस तैयारी को शुरू करने का? ग्रेजुएशन के बाद करें या ड्यूरिंग ग्रेजुएशन भी हम कर सकते हैं? आइडियल फेज क्या है?
सर, ये भी इंडिविजुअल से इंडिविजुअल वेरी करता है. जैसे यदि स्टूडेंट 11-12 से ही सेम सब्जेक्ट पढ़ रहा है, तो या तो उसकी कंसेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग बहुत अच्छी हो जाएगी 5-6 सालों में, तो ही कैन परफॉर्म वेरी वेल, जैसे टीना डाबी मैम ने किया था. लेकिन जो मेरा नेचर है, मैं यदि किसी सब्जेक्ट को 2-3 बार पढ़ लिया तो मुझे बोर करने लग जाता था कि अब तो इसमें सब कुछ पढ़ लिया है. फिर उसके जो सब्जेक्ट के इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स हैं मैं उनको छोड़ देता था. इसलिए जैसे मैंने मास्टर्स किया था सोशियोलॉजी में, तो मैं उस सब्जेक्ट को लेने से बेटर मैंने एंथ्रोपोलॉजी को लेना समझा कि उस सब्जेक्ट पे तो मैंने नेट वगैरह कर रखा था, तो मैं कि इस सब्जेक्ट को अब दोबारा से पढ़ना उतना ज़्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग नहीं होगा जितना एक नया सब्जेक्ट है. तो इसमें सबका इंडिविजुअल वेरी करता है. कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे होते हैं जिनको 2-3-4 रीडिंग के बाद सब्जेक्ट की अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप्ड होती है, और मुझे ऐसा था कि नया नया कुछ पढ़ता जाऊँ मैं. तो इसलिए मैंने कॉलेज के साथ कोई प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट नहीं की थी. कॉलेज के बाहर मैंने कॉलेज में प्लेसमेंट भी ले लिया था. उसके बाद में आके मैंने देखा कि सिविल सर्विसेज इतना अच्छा कैरियर प्रोवाइड करवाती है, इतनी अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोवाइड करवाती है. तब मैंने स्टार्ट किया, और मैं 2-3-4 बैकअप्स हैं उनको भी एक साथ ही कैरी आउट कर रहा था. कि जैसे राजस्थान स्टेट सर्विसेज में भी मेरा सिलेक्शन था, तो मैं उसकी भी प्रिपरेशन साथ में कर रहा था.
थी आपकी राजस्थान में?
जी सर. तो मैं RS भी साथ में लेके चल रहा था. उसके साथ में मैंने सोशियो से MA भी साथ में कंटिन्यू कर रहा था. उसमें मैंने नेट क्लियर कर लिया था कि इन सेंस कि यदि IAS भी नहीं, RS भी नहीं, तो एटलीस्ट असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर शुड बी माई.
आपका प्लान भी था?
प्लान B, C, D तक था सर. मैं तो मैंने गेट भी क्वालिफाई कर रखा था कि मैं इन केस कुछ भी नहीं हुआ तो PSUs की जॉब तो मेरे पास रहनी चाहिए. तो आई वाज हैविंग मल्टीपल प्लान्स एंड आई वाज कैरिंग आउट एट द सेम टाइम कि मैं कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा मुझे लगता था कि क्या मैं क्लियर नहीं कर पाऊँगा. तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की कोई तो पोस्ट मुझे मिलनी चाहिए जिस पे मैं जो चाहता हूँ कि मैं कुछ डिलीवर करूँ, कुछ इनोवेटिव करूँ, कुछ करूँ, उसके लिए कोई ना कोई स्टेज तो मुझे चाहिए थी परफॉर्म करने के लिए। इसलिए मेरे मल्टीपल प्लान्स एक साथ चलते थे।
ब्यूटीफुल। तो इसका कोई हार्ड एंड फास्ट ये नहीं है कि हम कब से प्लान शुरू, कब से प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट करें, और दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन द स्टूडेंट्स एंड हिज एकेडमिक कैपेबिलिटीज। वेरी गुड। धवल, हमारे क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं सोशल मीडिया से
जी।
और वो एक क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड है आपसे बहुत कुछ, क्योंकि ड्यूरिंग योर प्रिपरेशन फॉर सिविल सर्विसेज some unfortunate things happened in your personal life, and that was very sad and unfortunate. Question ये है कि how did you keep your motivation up? How to stop yourself from getting demotivated? That is actually the student question of a student who is asking. But because it happened in your own life, how did you keep track and how did you control yourself?
Sir, I think it's the part of my journey. जैसे it's not like that कि as we grow up and we are not very old, so हम सब कुछ सीखते हुए चलते हैं, और मैंने अपनी लाइफ में सब कुछ बहुत एक्सप्लोर ही किया है. It's not like I have a very set plan to do things. मैंने I studied in very good institutions. I did my 12th in sciences. Then I chose to study history in Kirodimal College, Delhi University. फिर मेरा भी मन हुआ कि I should study something different. Then I studied IR in JNU. And after that, due to some reasons, seats नहीं थे JNU में और कहीं जाना नहीं था. I had an opportunity to study in Germany. Apply कर सकता था. I would have got scholarship and everything. But that same time, my father passed away. My father was ill for a long time. He has Parkinson's disorder. तो उसमें काफ़ी परेशानियाँ हुई and टू माई माइंड मेरे लिए एकेडमिक जर्नी काफ़ी कंफर्टेबल रही है सर. एक्चुअली आई नेवर फेल्ट द हीट ऑफ कॉम्पिटिशन एनीवेयर. सो आफ्टर 2015 आई रियलाइज, जब वैसा हुआ तो आई रियलाइज आफ्टर ग्रेजुएशन और मास्टर आई रियलाइज कि आई हैव टू गेट इनटू दिस कॉम्पिटिशन. तो मेरे पास वैसे आइडियाज़ नहीं थे. एंड इट्स लाइक मोर लाइक कि जैसे इन्होंने बताया कि इनके सारे प्लान्स थे, तो दैट वाज ए फुल प्रूफ प्लान. आई डोंट सी इट्स ए प्लान बी. I think it's a foolproof plan to ensure that you get placed somewhere. And I suddenly realized that I don't have a plan, because I graduated from history, though I have the first rank in my college, but I could not get a 10,000 rupee job with a history degree instantly when I had to be dependent on myself. I had to be independent, that my father will not be able to pay for me, or my family will face difficulties in supporting me. So there I realized something in the whole process, that if you need something, you find your way. It's not like I took attempts. I was desperate in 2018 because my father passed away, and like ma'am said, we need to prove ourselves. We are known by our father's name, our family's name. And that year I could not get into prelims. I could not get admission anywhere. So I realized I need to make many plans. I qualified NET in IR, then I qualified JRF in Pol Science. I started teaching also. After graduation, I have been independent on myself. I did research. I became research assistants in different places. I took help from my professors, and JNU has been very kind. I would say that a lot of this goes to my JNU, my teachers. There are people who guided me, my professors who guided me through small stages of this exam, many, and at the same time in interview stages, I found alumni of JNU who were ready to help me, guide me. I never had to go to any institution where I will find. People have shown the way for me. In personal front, I think everyone of us realize that family, parents and everything has a lot of role to play in our journey. So in this thing, motivation, the part of motivation, I say that if you feel bad, you cry, you throw punches, you fall down, you complain, you never give up. You never change your approach. You never stop your path. And I think this has been told in my interview also, though this is the famous lines of that the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. मोर देन दैट हम लोग बहुत हिंदी बोल रहे हैं एंड आई लव हिंदी, आई लाइक हिंदी, तो मैं इनका हरिवंश राय बच्चन का ही ये इन्होंने इसका अनुवाद किया है जो मुझे ज़्यादा याद आता है और मैं हमेशा उसे याद करता हूँ। कभी मुझे वैसे ही अलग फीलिंग आती है तो मैं वो लाइन्स हैं, गहन सघन मनमोहक वंतरू मुझको आज बुलाते हैं, किंतु किए जो वादे मैंने याद मुझे आ जाते हैं, अरे अभी कहाँ आराम बता, यह मूक निमंत्रण छलना है, अरे अभी तो मीलों मुझको चलना है।
Beautiful, great. Never give up.
Yes, sir.
Aradhana, there are questions related to managing time for prelims exam, for mains exam, for personality test, and also about the holistic approach of this entire preparation. I have seen students saying, let's first clear prelims exam. Prelims नहीं होगा तो mains कहाँ से देंगे? Do you find that strategy good, or there has to be some holistic preparation way? People usually segregate prelims from mains, mains from interview, and result is not very encouraging. So how did you manage your time? What should be your approach towards preparation as an IAS aspirant, if I ask?
So initially, when we start off with the preparations, we need to understand the dynamics of the whole syllabus, the requirements of the prelims, the requirement of the mains, and the requirement of the interview. Now, we separate out interview usually, but I personally started off with the preparations of prelims first. When I started off preparations, I was like, I need to understand what the requirement of the prelims is, because mains mein we require the writing style, and I personally had a stronghold in writing. So I wanted to get into the prelims, factual information, the analysis of PYQs that we're supposed to do, how to read the newspaper, and everything is a part of prelims first. So it is important that we understand and then prepare accordingly. Now, along with that, after initial days of my preparations, initial weeks of my preparations, I started focusing on mains as well, because when you understand the syllabus, you get into the whole thing in one go. You understand how much time you will have to prepare for the mains and how do you go by. Now here the student needs to understand where their strong point is, where their weak point is. It's very important कि एक holistic understanding खुद student को develop करनी चाहिए. And then when you start off with the mains, once you start off with the mains, the preparation for mains and prelims is not segregated. It's the same thing that we are preparing for. It's all the information that we have, how to analyze that information. Now what I did was I analyzed the PYQs for both prelims and mains. And I personally believe that it is very important that we understand the kind of questions that we are getting and which area are we supposed to focus more on. Regardless, as even Vasu sir said, smart work is more important along with hard work also. So smartly we have to analyze and study wherever the syllabus is going on. 2 months before the prelims, I started off with the prelims preparation solely. I started doing mock test and analyzing my own scores and where am I going wrong. And then after the prelims, we have the mains. Interview was not touched by me till the mains was done. So.
गौरव, आपका टेक क्या, कुछ ऐड करना चाहेंगे आप इसमें?
सर, जैसा कि मैंने पहले बताया कि ये रूल समझना है इस गेम का। यदि प्रीलिम्स एग्ज़ाम यूपीएससी ले रही है तो कुछ ना सिग्निफिकेंस उसकी ज़रूर है। तो मैंने समझा कि प्रीलिम्स के अंदर जो फैक्ट्स मैं याद कर रहा हूँ उसी का एनालिसिस मुझे मेंस में करना है। जब मैं मेंस के अंदर कोई भी आर्ग्यूमेंट पेश कर रहा हूँ कि इंडिया का एग्रीकल्चर ग्रोथ इस साल अच्छा रहा है, उसको मुझे बैकअप करना है एक फैक्ट के द्वारा, और वो फैक्ट तैयार कर रहा हूँ मैं प्रीलिम्स के एग्ज़ाम में। तो ये मेरी पूरी जो तैयारी थी वो मेरे लिए एकदम इंटीग्रेटेड थी। इवन जो स्टेट पीसीएस की भी तैयारी में जो करता था वो भी मेरी इसमें इंटीग्रेटेड थी। स्टेट पीसीएस में जितने ज़्यादा फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन मुझे याद करनी पड़ती, मैं उसे पॉजिटिव सेंस में लेता कि ये चीज़ मुझे मेंस के अंदर काम में आएगी, क्योंकि मुझे अब कोई भी आर्ग्यूमेंट पेश करते समय प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी, क्योंकि मेरे पास पीछे जो फैक्ट्स हैं, मेरे पास फिगर्स हैं जिनके थ्रू मैं ये आर्ग्यूमेंट को सही कर दूँ। इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि इन दोनों की प्रिपरेशन अलग अलग नहीं करनी चाहिए अनलेस एंड अनटिल कोई सब्जेक्ट कम्प्लीटली आउट ऑफ प्रीलिम सिलेबस है। जैसे सोसाइटी है, वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री है, जैसे इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन मोस्ट ऑफ द पार्ट इज आउटसाइड, इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी है, तो उन इथिक्स है, तो उन सभी को तो अलग से तैयार करना पड़ेगा। लेकिन प्रीलिम्स को जब पढ़ें तो उसको दो एस्पेक्ट से मैं पढ़ता था हमेशा कि प्रीलिम्स में क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा तब तो इससे क्या आउटपुट हमें निकालना है, और मेंस में ये इंफॉर्मेशन कौन से आर्गुमेंट के पीछे काम आएगी। तो आप यदि इंटीग्रेटेड वे में नहीं पढ़ रहे हो तो मेंस की प्रिपरेशन में आपके पास जब एनालिसिस करोगे तो उसको बैकअप करने के लिए आपके पास फैक्ट्स फिगर्स नहीं होंगे, क्योंकि आपने उस दोनों की इंडिपेंडेंटली तैयारी की है। इसलिए सर मेरा पर्सनल व्यू है ये कि हमें साथ में तैयारी करनी चाहिए।
गुड। सृष्टि मुझसे याद नहीं होता, लोग फैक्ट इतने ज़्यादा हैं। आई अंडरस्टैंड थिंग्स,
Right.
I cannot mug up the facts, but there are crores of facts that I need to
Yes.
go through. How did you cope up with this challenge?
So मुझसे भी याद नहीं होता, बिल्कुल याद नहीं होता। एंड आई थिंक दिस पेपर, जैसे हम स्मार्ट वर्क की बहुत देर से बात कर रहे हैं और जैसे सर ने कहा कि प्रीलिम्स और मेंस एक दूसरे को कॉम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं इन अ वे, वी गेट द फैक्ट्स फ्रॉम प्रीलिम्स एंड वो मेंस में कोट करते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि जब हम प्रिपेयर करते हैं, रीविजिटिंग थिंग्स मल्टीपल टाइम्स ईजेज योर जॉब ऑफ मगिंग अप। बच्चे गलती ये करते हैं कि वो एक बार कोई चीज़ पढ़ के छोड़ देते हैं एंड देन दे पिक अप अनदर सोर्स एंड देन दे हैव टू टेल देयर ब्रेन्स कि अब आपको ये पूरा याद करना है। Whereas if you revisit your source multiple times, use different kind of pens, highlighters to take it to your photographic or the part of your brain which stores the visual memory, which is stronger as compared to your whatever you read. उस तरह से you can save a lot of your job of mugging up. Yes, this paper has this constraint that some part needs to be remembered. And this could be easy if you do it multiple times, if you develop your own tricks, mnemonics, जो बच्चे कर लेते हैं बहुत आसानी से। इवन आजकल तो सोशल मीडिया, यूट्यूब भी इसमें असिस्ट कर रहा है। आई डोंट थिंक अगर ये सब किया जाए तो देयर इज़ अ नीड ऑफ मगिंग अप। आई हैड अनदर टेक्निक कि अगर मुझे कुछ याद नहीं होता था तो मैं उससे रिलेटेड कोई मूवी ढूंढने की कोशिश करती थी। सो बिकॉज आई एम अ मूवी एंथुसियास्ट, तो जो टॉपिक मुझे याद नहीं होता था या जो मुझे बोर करता था, तो आई यूज़ टू वॉच अ मूवी ऑन दैट टॉपिक। वो मुझे अगर इंटरेस्ट कर जाती थी तो इवेंचुअली मैं उस मूवी के इंसिडेंसेस से पूरी की पूरी हिस्ट्री या पूरे इंसिडेंट को रिलेट करके याद रख पाती थी। So these are the things which you can develop on your own.
That means keep revising.
Yes.
You need not mug up so many times. When you leave a topic in between, then you pick it up after a long gap. Then you start feeling that pinch that you are unable to recall. And that is a beautiful thing that you used to relate things with movie and scenes. Upcoming aspirants can do that, right? Vasu,
Sir.
how to sharpen my writing skills? Because demand for writing is very high in civil services examination. I need to write a lot in mains examination. When should I start writing? Should I read first, then write, or how many questions I need to practice on daily basis? What is the ideal time to start my answer writing?
So I think before just writing answers, we need to understand how should we write answer and what all things are there in a good answer. What we do is we generally focus just on content.
Right.
What are the things we would be pouring down in an answer. But more than content, there are something else also which are essential to a good answer. Not just an answer, but a good answer. Content is definitely a very strong part of an answer. But content alone cannot fetch you good marks. So along with content, you need to have structure, presentation, those things. Now, structure and presentation are those things which will help the evaluator go through your answer sheet in a very easy manner. And that is very much required, and that could be developed by practice. Content could be developed by reading, by seeing others, by reading and going through your notes. But structure and presentation would be done only by practice and seeing others' copies. Like someone has said, किसने कहाँ पे diagram बनाया, points में लिखा है, कैसे लिखा है. Those things I used to do, see others' copies, whether they are toppers or whether they are my fellow mates. Same question we have written an answer, and I'll see what they have done. If they have added diagram or written in some different form. So what I'm getting different perspectives on the same answer. The model answer can give me content which is provided by different institutes, but that is not that thing which I can replicate in my answer, because model answers are generally lengthy. They are basically for the building your content part. I need to, along with the content, I need to have good answer. So if he has made a diagram out of on it, or she has adopted a different approach, say a table approach, I can adopt which suits me better, which I can replicate. So I can take that. One thing I used to do for answer writing, Topper's answer copy is easily available on various websites. So I used to download those copies. On the same questions, I used to write answer. And then I used to compare my answer with Topper's answer. Why are they getting extra marks which I am not able to get? What is that difference or the advantage they are having? Content is almost the same. They have also read the same book, I have also read the same book, but they are writing in a different manner. They are explaining a point in only one line, for which I am taking 5 lines. So my time is, how can I shorten that? So those things I learned through comparing my answer with others' answer. So that is very important when we are practicing answers. Second, you asked about when should I start writing answer. So I think that would depend on the type of questions we are writing. So if we are writing a general answer, say suppose society, we all know we have been living in Indian society, we observe things. Now for that, or on current affair, we can write answer at a very early stage. But if we are writing some technical answers, say cyclone, or anything related to polity, for which we need to have some content, we need to have some understanding, that can be done after we had done with that topic. But my practice, my approach had been that I would be writing at least 3 answers daily, and I would be comparing my answer, reading the model answer, and even if I don't know a certain topic, still I will try to write answer, because in the examination I don't know, there would be certain questions which I will not be knowing. So for that thing also I need to prepare myself. So out of 3, if I am not knowing one question, still I will try to write answer and try to do connections, which I can recall from the other points which I have learned.
But in UPSC, not only writing, but we have to write with a good speed. Speed also matters. Handwriting also matters.
Yes.
How to balance this requirement? How did you speed up your answer writing?
So I say speeding is one thing. So for this I say 2 things. One is daily answer writing practice, and I think that should be for improvement or the beautifying your answer. How can you improve in an answer? Speed should be seen when you are writing a full-fledged mock test, 3-hour test. So what I used to do, like in the 3 months between the pre and mains, I used to write 3 answers daily, but that was for improvement. And when I would be writing 3-hour test, say on the Sundays, at that time I would be focusing on speed and not in daily answer writing. Because if I'm focusing only on speed throughout the 3 months, where will I get the chance to improve? Where can I force my mind to bring in different connections? That would require certain time. So daily answer writing would be for improvement, and 3-hour test would be for speed plus bringing those improvements into the answer copy, which I have learned in the week or previously. So that in that way I used to tackle both things.
Daily answer writing for the sake of improvement.
Yes, sir.
And once in a week you used to write in a simulated UPSC conditions with the required speed.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. Srishti, what is the role of academic environment of a student in clearing this UPSC?
So, I prepared for UPSC while staying in Karol Bagh, and I was subjected to this extreme pressure and competition this area offers, which has so many UPSC aspirants tackling and battling this exam and its challenges. In the later leg, when COVID happened, I went back to my home and I could experience the difference of not being in that place. This area was a challenge to be sitting here and facing all the peer pressure, but I realized that as soon as I moved to my house and the comfort seeped in, about 2-3 hours of my academic performance were lost every day, because there's a comfort, there's a complacence which we let our body, our mind get into, and we believe that hum kar lenge. Whereas the place where you are, the kind of pressure, sometimes, not always, you have to keep your mental health in check, but sometimes it's necessary to put yourself in some spotlight, a little pressure, so that you do not feel complacent and you do not get laid back. You have to be on your toes so that you get into the list and you do not fail into the trap of getting into the paper and doing it over and over, which
Great.
I
So
believe.
during the preparation, that has a positive impact.
Yes, sir.
If I talk about academic environment of a student, like I'm a mediocre student throughout my life, I'm not a topper, I'm not a distinction holder, is it an hindrance?
I don't believe so. While I was in my BTech, I was not somebody who was academically proficient. There was a reason to it because I was more involved with the cultural activities. I thought I need to explore my personality a bit. But I believe that even if I had contributed more time to my BTech course, it wouldn't have fetched me a lot of marks. I don't believe that academic proficiency is what matters in this paper. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We need to continue our efforts and we need to challenge ourselves even on days when we cannot do something. Like in case of my optional, it was anthropology. And though I took anthropology because I liked the subject matter, in the initial days it was very struggling. And I thought I would give up on this subject. But I did not. I kept on reading it till the point I felt comfortable with the subject, till the point I could write something on an discussion. So this is what is needed. Academic proficiency doesn't matter. There are great examples of selected candidates who were not academically proficient and they made through just because they were perseverant.
Right. So perseverance is important,
Yes.
not the academic distinction.
Yes.
अगर गौरव बहुत मुश्किल है करंट अफेयर्स, पार्टिकुलरली इन द इरा ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी, करंट अफेयर्स को कैसे तैयार करें? मुझे सब्जेक्ट भी पढ़ना है, ऑप्शनल भी पढ़ना है, राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस भी करनी है, मेरी एक सोशल लाइफ भी है, उसमें बिलियंस एंड बिलियंस ऑफ फैक्ट्स आर कमिंग ऑन मिनट बाय मिनट बेसिस. कैसे करंट अफेयर्स करें?
सर, करंट अफेयर्स में सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट दो बातें थी जो मुझे एक टीचर्स ने बताई थी. पहला उन्होंने बताया था कि करंट अफेयर्स आपको इस प्रिपरेशन में इसलिए कंटिन्यू रखना है क्योंकि ये आपको एग्ज़ाम के लायक बनाएगा. मैंने पूछा कैसे सर? तो जब हम हिस्ट्री पढ़ने जा रहे हैं तो यदि हमें पता है 1 घंटे बाद हम हिस्ट्री पढ़ेंगे तो जो हमारे दिमाग के अंदर हिस्ट्री का माहौल बनना स्टार्ट हो जाता है और फिर हम हिस्ट्री को पढ़ते हैं. लेकिन करंट अफेयर एक ऐसी चीज़ है, यदि करंट अफेयर की न्यूज़ पढ़ो वो इकोनॉमिक्स से होगी, दूसरी डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट से होगी, तीसरी पॉलिटी से होगी, चौथी वापस इकोनॉमी से होगी. मतलब आपका दिमाग एकदम फर्टाइल स्टेज में रहेगा कि कुछ भी आए आई एम रेडी. एंड दैट इज़ व्हाट यूपीएससी के अंदर जो रिक्वायर्ड है, क्योंकि आपको नहीं पता कि यूपीएससी की पेपर में क्या आ जाएगा. और यदि आप रेगुलर करंट अफेयर फॉलो करने वाले हैं तो आपका दिमाग उस चीज़ के लिए रेडी रहता है कि कुछ भी मेरे ऊपर आ जाए आई एम रेडी फॉर दैट. तो इसलिए सर एक तो मुझे ये लगता था. दूसरा था कि मैं जब भी इंट्रोडक्शन कंक्लूजन वगैरह करता तो मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम आती कि डेफिनेशंस याद करना एक सेकंड थर्ड अटेम्प्टर्स के लिए एक ज़्यादा इजी टास्क होता है कंपेरेटिव जो फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में है. क्योंकि उन्हें डेफिनेशन या तो सही से याद नहीं होगी और वो अपने टर्म्स में लिखेंगे तो उसका जो डेफिनेशन का सार है वो बदल जाएगा. तो इसलिए मेरा ये रहता था कि करंट अफेयर से जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट देंगे कि ये न्यूज़ इसलिए चल रही है और इससे स्टार्ट करना है, इसलिए करंट अफेयर इम्पोर्टेंट था. अब इसमें जब तैयारी करने की बात है सर, मैं मल्टीपल जो साइट्स हैं उनको विजिट करता था, लेकिन मेरा मेन था हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर से रिलेटेड जितना भी आए उसको करना है. क्योंकि मेरा एंथ्रोपोलॉजी ऑप्शनल था और जनरली ट्राइबल्स की जो न्यूज़ है वो हिंदू के अंदर न्यूज़पेपर में कवर होती थी कि हिंदू कंप्लीट करना है. उसके बाद यदि कुछ एक्स्ट्रा इन्फॉर्मेशन कहीं से मिल सकती है, जैसे योजना मैगजीन है या कुरुक्षेत्र मैगजीन है या फिर राज्यसभा टीवी के ऊपर कुछ डिबेट्स आते थे जैसे सरोकार और मतलब प्रत्यक्ष ऐसे कुछ कार्यक्रम थे उनके ऊपर आते थे, तो उनका मैं ध्यान रखता था कि यदि कुछ सिलेबस के लायक आएगा तो कवर करना है. अदरवाइज हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर मेरे लिए सफिशिएंट था. और इसको सर मैं मॉर्निंग के टाइम में करता था केवल, क्योंकि उसके बाद आप जब दिन में पढ़ लिया है आपने, उसके बाद करंट अफेयर मुझे इतना इंटरेस्टिंग नहीं लगता था. मॉर्निंग के टाइम में करना है और उसका भी टाइम फिक्स, जैसे कि 10 बजे तक करंट अफेयर हो जाना चाहिए. अब करंट अफेयर एक लिमिटलेस चीज़ है, आप कितना भी कर लो कम लगेगा. आपने यदि एक वेबसाइट से किया, दूसरी वेबसाइट पे कुछ और करंट अफेयर दिखाएगा, तो 10 बजे तक जितना करंट हो गया उतना मोर देन सफिशिएंट है। उसमें न्यूज़पेपर का जो एनालिसिस है वो हो जाएगा और बाकी कुछ भी जो सफिशिएंट चीज़ें हैं वो होती जाएंगी। लास्ट में जब मेंस का एग्ज़ाम है उससे जस्ट पहले मैं ऐसा देखता कि कुछ करंट अफेयर छूट तो नहीं गया है। उसके लिए जो सर सिलेबस के अंदर जो टॉपिक्स हैं उसको गूगल पे डालो और उसके आगे द हिंदू लिख दो, उससे रिलेटेड कोई न्यूज़ आ जाएगी और वो न्यूज़ आपकी पढ़ी हुई है, उसका नोट्स में आपके है, तो इग्नोर कर दो। यदि आपको लगे कि ये न्यूज़ छूट गई थी उस दिन या कोई दूसरे वेबसाइट से न्यूज़ आती है तो उसको पिकअप कर लो, उसका करेक्ट जल्दी से लिख लो। तो ऑलमोस्ट 200 टॉपिक्स हैं हमारे सिलेबस के आसपास। तो यदि आप इनको मतलब एक टॉपिक को यदि मैं 10 मिनट्स भी देता तो ये मेरा कुछ अराउंड मतलब 4-5 दिन का ये कंटेंट था जो मैं एग्ज़ाम से जस्ट थोड़े दिन पहले करता। अदरवाइज जो पूरे साल में जो करंट अफेयर मेरे पास था वो ऑलमोस्ट सफिशिएंट होता और ज़्यादातर न्यूज़ वही आती जो ऑलरेडी मैं कवर कर चुका हूँ। तो ये मेरा एक तरीका रहता था।
ब्रिलियंट तरीका था। अगर ये एस्पिरेंट्स इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करें तो बहुत आसानी से वो कर सकते हैं। धवल, इफ आई लुक एट द ट्रेंड ऑफ marks, you find students are doing really good in essay paper, GS paper 4 paper, GS paper 1, 2. But even for toppers, paper 3 is a daunting one. I analyze the marks of last 4-5 years, like economy, science and technology, ecology. What is the weak point in GS paper 3? Because usually students they come to me and ask paper 3 में toppers को भी marks नहीं आ रहे. So what is the basic problem with paper 3? How to cope up with that?
Sir, GS paper 3 generally in our common parlance or simple parlance we say it's more related to the economic sides, and it has certain dimensions of IR and something. But over the past 5 years I have seen that there are certain things which are overlapping. It's not necessary that if you have got a question of GS1 or GS2, GS3, you can find, I think we have seen women empowerment question in almost all 3 papers, or almost 4 papers, GS1, 2, 3, 4. All the papers have women empowerment questions. So I also used to think that how should I answer that I feel like I am repeating my answer. What I have written before, I am writing the same answers. So definitely that's not going to leave a good impression on that examiner or people who are checking my answer or seeing my answers. So the thing is that we need to see them little deeply, and by deeply I mean like if we are writing GS3 answer, so there is a question of infrastructure or energy or or IR, so you have to write it with that perspective. It's more like it's something, the point is that we get very less time to write GS answers, and also there are lots of answers, lots of content. The point of completing the paper is very important. So what people do, or what we all candidates do, that we write to put as many as facts or as many as dimensions we can possibly think of. And most of the time the humanities students, or we see that the nature of examination is changing to technocratic, because what people used to write in before in paragraphs, now they write in points, or simply they will write something, draw a circle, draw 5 arrows, or write the points. There is no part of introduction, conclusion, or the art of writing, as we say. It's also that there's some positives and negatives of the exam, that the exam does not require your flow of writing or comprehension. The papers are very limited to do that. So in GS3 papers, what I believe that facts matter. At the same time, we need to improve on the writing skills, like a proper introduction, a proper conclusion, a main body, and our idea of the subject's relevance in different fields. So I am writing an answer on India-US relations. So the question is given in GS3 paper, and there is a question in GS2 paper same about India-US relations. So that will be my responsibility, that how I write that answer. I can't write the same things in both the papers. So a Indo-US relations answer in GS3 paper will definitely have to cover trade, investment, and technology part. It can't be that we need to write about the bonhomie of only 2 leaders, or we talk about China or other things in all answers. It has become a general trend that general studies answers are not just general. If you want to score better and if you want to improve your answers scores, you have to write specifically. I have not followed any assumed paper that I don't use circles, or I only used circles or flowcharts or arrows when I don't know the answers. When I know the answers, I believe that I have to write with a flow of writing, a proper paragraph, a proper construction of sentences, and a sentence that means something. But at the same time, I keep my sentences short. So when someone reads, it's become easier to comprehend or understand. Long sentences are not easily comprehensible and it's intelligible, it becomes intelligible. So we need to write small sentences, meaningful sentences, at the same time use our resources wisely within the time.
Great. But here I would play as a role of devil's advocate. You have writing skills. Reason being, you all have scored 130, 35, 37 plus in your essay. So you know how to create good answer, right? Because if you don't know how to create good answer, how are you scoring so well in essay paper? First part. Second, even economics optional student Dhaval Gaurav, if the orientation of GS paper 3 is economics in nature, then economics optional students, why they are getting below 90? And they are scoring under 20 ranks. But paper 3 was the weak link for them also. So have you analyzed that from that perspective? Who want to start?
सर,
yeah, please बोलिए.
इसका आंसर मैं सही से बता सकता हूँ क्योंकि मैं भी ये फेल्ट कर चुका हूँ. मेरे बाकी पेपर्स में 110 से ऊपर है, लेकिन केवल GS3 ऐसा है जिसमें मेरे 90 स्कोर है. एंड आई थिंक कि GS3 की तैयारी भी अच्छी थी, बट उसमें एक दिक्कत है सर कि इसमें 5 से 6 सब्जेक्ट है. जैसे वो इकोनॉमिक्स नहीं है, इकोनॉमिक्स के अलावा एग्रीकल्चर भी है, इन्वायरमेंट भी है, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट भी है, साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी भी है, इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी भी है. और उसके बाद जो उसमें फोकस होता है हमारा वो मेनली इकोनॉमिक्स के ऊपर चला जाता है. एंड हम मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम है वो इकोनॉमिक्स के जो 4 क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं उसके ऊपर कंज्यूम कर देते हैं, और जो बाकी जो सेक्शन है उस पर प्रोपोर्शनली उतना टाइम नहीं दिया जाता जितना रिक्वायर्ड होता है. तो उसकी वजह से सर एक प्रॉब्लम स्पेसिफिकली फेस करनी पड़ती है. सेकंड, जो GS3 के जितने भी क्वेश्चंस थे मुझे ऐसा लगा कि वो जो करंट अफेयर्स में जो कुछ चल रहा था वहाँ से वो पिकअप होके आए थे. और जब तक हम करंट अफेयर से रिलेटेड उसका कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं बताते तो एग्जामिनर को फील होता है कि ये बताया क्यों नहीं. ये मैंने फील किया था एक मॉक इंटरव्यू में कि उन्होंने मेरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट से रिलेटेड मुझसे करेक्टरिस्टिक्स पूछी थी कि आप कुछ 5-7 खास बातें बता दीजिए. मैंने उन्हें 5-7 बता दी, लेकिन जो इंटरव्यूअर था सेटिस्फाइड नहीं था, और बताओ. लास्ट में जब मैंने हवेली आर्किटेक्चर की बात की तो दिस इज द पॉइंट. सेम इज द GS3 कि GS3 में एग्जामिनर एक पॉइंट को ढूंढना चाहता है कि ये इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट की वजह से ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है. वो जनरली हार्ड होता है GS3 में निकालना क्योंकि वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा डायनामिक है.
उसमें सिलेबस बहुत बड़ा है, 5-6 सब्जेक्ट आ जाते हैं
जी.
और हम लोग उसको इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ते हुए या साइंस टेक मैक्सिमम इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी को इग्नोर कर दिया हमने, या फिर दूसरे छोटे छोटे जो मॉड्यूल्स हैं उसको इग्नोर कर देते हैं. ग्रेट. कुछ और कहना चाहेंगे आप इस पर?
और सर जैसे इन्वायरमेंट जैसा सब्जेक्ट है, इतना बड़ा सब्जेक्ट है, उसमें से 2 क्वेश्चन आने वाले हैं, तो स्टूडेंट के सामने टाइम कितना दें उस सब्जेक्ट को. या तो वो क्वेश्चन इतना सिंपल आ सकता है जिसको मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल कर देंगे, तो आप इन्वायरमेंट पे कितना टाइम डेडिकेट करें. तो ये एक थोड़ा सा उस, और एग्रीकल्चर का जो पोर्शन है वहाँ से 4 क्वेश्चन आते हैं, उसके लिए कंटेंट कहाँ से मतलब इकट्ठा करें. जो नॉर्मल कंटेंट होता है वही सभी के पास होता है, लेकिन एक स्टेप आगे के जब क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं तो उसके मुझे लगता है सब एवरेज आंसर ही लिखते हैं GS3 में, इसलिए एवरेज नंबर ही आते हैं जो मैंने फील किया है.
Absolutely correct. आप लोग ऐड करना चाहेंगे कुछ? Would you like to or you agree?
Sir, I believe मैंने एक निमोनिक बनाया था अपनी आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस के लिए कि द स्पाइस ऑफ आंसर राइटिंग. तो S was for speed, P was for presentation, I was for intellect यानी आपकी खुद की ओपिनियन, C was for content and E was for exercise. किसी भी पेपर को टैकल करने के लिए अगर ये सारे एलिमेंट्स आप अपने आंसर राइटिंग में ले आते हैं तो आप स्कोर डेफिनेटली करेंगे. Because मैंने अपने JS3 के पेपर में I somehow missed the last 2 questions. I could not finish that paper.
Okay.
And still I scored 99. And if I had completed that 2 questions,
More
so
than 110,
I would have gotten more than 100. The problem is a lot of content is available for GS3. You have a lot of things to write. I never felt कि GS3 is a paper जिसमें content की कमी है. I felt आपको आर्ट एंड कल्चर में हो सकता है कि आप किसी पर्टिकुलर डायनेस्टी के बारे में ना पता हो, पर आपको GS3 में इकोनॉमिक्स के इतने फंडामेंटल, इतने ग्रास रूट से जुड़े हुए क्वेश्चंस, एग्रीकल्चर के क्वेश्चंस जिसके बारे में इवन कॉमन पर्सन हैज़ एन अवेयरनेस. तो द इशू इज़ अबाउट द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ दिस कंटेंट. माई टीचर ऑलवेज टॉट मी अ ट्रिक टू टैकल GS3 पेपर. ही सेड जब भी GS3 का आंसर लिखो और अगर इकोनॉमिक्स और एग्रीकल्चर का है तो अपना सिलेबस रिवाइज करो. स्टार्ट विद GDP, फिर मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, फिर फिस्कल पॉलिसी, कैपिटल मार्केट, वर्ल्ड मार्केट, एंड एवरी टॉपिक वुड प्रोवाइड यू 2 marks, 2 points and some marks. सो इफ़ यू आर थिंकिंग इन दिस फैशन, आपके दिमाग में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी आएगा, कैपिटल की कमी भी आएगी, मार्केट्स का इशू आएगा. पीपल थिंक कि बहुत ब्रॉड सिलेबस है, लेकिन अगर आप सिर्फ सिलेबस को याद रख लें तो भी आप GS3 को ठीक टैकल कर सकते हैं.
गुड, ब्रिलियंट. आपने पूरा सोशल मीडिया डिलीट कर दिया था. व्हाट अबाउट माय सोशल प्रोफाइल? टू बी एन IAS, इट्स अ वेरी फंडामेंटल क्वेश्चन ऑफ एस्पिरेंट्स. Like, do I need to be anti-social? Totally deleting all the apps, Facebook, Insta, YouTube, WhatsApp, whatever. So, if I have to rephrase this question in just one or few words, do I need to be anti-social for that to become an IAS?
Certainly not, sir. But you need to regulate your social footprint. So for me, WhatsApp was like not relevant. It was only the group chats and irrelevant message mostly cropping up on WhatsApp. So for me, WhatsApp was bringing nothing fruitful to me. So I deleted WhatsApp. But for communication, I had Telegram, and Telegram was also fruitful in my preparation. There were very good channels available on Telegram. So I kept social media, but I regulated my usage. I was even a regular follower or user of Twitter. I was following good handles there, so that was a added advantage. Quora I was present, but certain social media I felt like they are creating more nuisance, creating more noise in my preparation, not adding anything to my preparation, and nothing fruitful was there. So people used to say, if you are deleting WhatsApp, how would we communicate with you? How would others communicate with you? You would be missing on certain things. I would say if something is important, some message important, they would call me up. But they'll simply text me.
Right.
And if it is not important, then they'll use WhatsApp. I don't want unnecessary things in my life, at least for this period of time. So I deleted WhatsApp, and I didn't think it was very difficult for me to manage without WhatsApp. For initial 1 month or initial 15 days, it might be, because we have been habitual to use those platforms. But after 15 days, it was very, very calm, I would say, without any distraction. And if there is any files to be transferred, then Telegram or emails were available. So I was not completely cut off, but I regulated my social media presence.
गौरव, आपने थे सोशल मीडिया पर?
सर मैं भी सेम वासु की तरह जो व्हाट्सअप था उसको डिलीट कर दिया था, एंड टेलीग्राम तो आजकल एक जो अच्छा कंटेंट उसी पे अवेलेबल होता है, तो टेलीग्राम मैंने ऑन रख रखा था. सेम कि यदि आप फेसबुक व्हाट्सअप को ऑन रखोगे तो दूसरों के स्टेटस देख के आपको लगेगा कि ये सब तो इतना कुछ कर रहे हैं, मैं जीवन में कुछ भी नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. तो दैट मतलब आपको कुछ वो एग्ज़ाम में ऐड नहीं करेगा. तो व्हाट्सएप एंड फेसबुक को तो कम्प्लीटली ऑफ कर देना चाहिए. बाकी जो नॉर्मल आपके जैसे टेलीग्राम है, कोरा है, तो लिंक्डइन है, तो इनको आप ऑन रख सकते हैं. कोई
इट शुड बी रियली फोकस्ड. You have to see whether it is distracting you or it is adding value. Dhaval, Vasu, Srishti, Aradhana, Gaurav, you all have scored really impressive marks in your essay paper. So if I may start with you, what it takes to write an extraordinary essay? How you all could score so well in essay paper?
Sir, I will tell you a story about that. I have given 2 papers, 2 essay papers, written 2 papers. So last year, before this attempt, when I was giving my first mains. So I was nervous. I have not practiced a single essay paper before writing my exam essay paper. So I went to the examination hall. I started writing. So I didn't have a strategy or plan to write the essay paper. When I started writing, I finished my essay, one essay, second essay, and then I was looking, okay, time is over, now the examiner will collect the paper. But to my utter surprise, I completed both the essay in 2 hours and still 1 hour left. So I was thinking, I have filled all the pages, what can I do with the time? So I read my essay back. In 1 hour, I read my essay. I felt I have written what I have written. If I would have given another sheet, or I could have made it better, I would have written a very good essay. Because writing is something that I really take pride in, because I like writing, I like reading. So that was something I learned that day. Fortunately, I got good marks. I got around 130 in last paper also, and this year I have written an essay. I got around 137. So that was fine. But the thing I realized in that, and your answer lies there, that for writing a good essay, you need practice and you need to read your own essay. There are very few people who will write a long essay and will read it. I don't think I have done it before. Right? We have written many essays, but we have not read our own essays. At the same time, read your own essay, read the best essay you can find the elements. And in essays, one thing is very important, that it seeks validation in the continuous flow of writing. So your starting point and your end point should connect. It can't be a factual, it can't be overload or platform to just present your facts or something which you find cool or which you find interesting. It's something that gives an space to represent yourself there. We get two kinds of essays at times. In last 2 years, I have seen both the essays natures are similar, philosophical kind. It's not necessarily very factual kind. So that requires not just your analysis, not just your insights. It requires your idea. An essay can be built strongly with a foundation of idea. And I can write any essay with different topics. So I am a student of history. I am a student of political science. The best thing I know is the freedom struggle, and the other best thing I know is international relations. So if you will give me any topic, I will use these two backgrounds and connect the essay, because for essay the story is mine. It need not to be any particular model story. So that's the key. What is your strong area? You pick there, you build anecdotes from there, you build concepts from there. At the same time, you present those concepts in a manner where it appears lucid and free flowing. And this is something I have tried. I don't know whether it will work for anyone. So when I read newspapers, I read the columns. It suggested that you avoid the papers where art, literature, or sports pages are concerned. But the best essays I find in a newspaper is a sports column. So if someone will write a character sketch of Sachin Tendulkar or Saina Nehwal, you will read that essay and you will feel that, oh my God, it gives an impression that you are watching that person play in front of you. So you draw from there how they connect, and they use the best words, best vocabulary, very simple sentences, and it conveys a lot. It conveys the emotions. So a good essay, the key to a good essay is emotions. If you can incite emotions of the examiner, you will get good marks.
गौरव, असाधारण निबंध कैसे लिखें?
सर, निबंध एक ऐसी चीज़ थी जो हिंदी में मेरे लिए ठीक थी, लेकिन इंग्लिश में ये मेरे लिए महाभारत से कम नहीं थी. लिटरली बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज था. और जब मैं किसी को सबसे पहले जो मैंने ऐसे लिखा प्रैक्टिस के लिए, तो उसमें टीचर का ये कमेंट आया कि लिखा बहुत अच्छा, लेकिन समझ नहीं आया हमें कि लिखा क्या है. तो दैट वाज ए वेरी चैलेंजिंग ऐसे फॉर मी. तो फिर मैंने डिसाइड किया कि आई विल मेक द साइंस ऑफ द ऐसे, बिकॉज मैं ऐसे फ्री फ्लो में नहीं लिख पा रहा हूँ. मेरा फ्लो खुद को टूटता हुआ नज़र आ रहा है, तो टीचर को ज़रूर ऐसा फील होगा. तो मैंने सर ऐसे की साइंस बनाने की कोशिश की. तो मेरी फ्रेंड थी इंग्लिश लिटरेचर से, तो मैं उनके साथ बैठ के टॉपर्स के ऐसे पढ़ता था, और हम लाइन पिकअप कर लेते थे कि ये लाइन तो बहुत अच्छी लिखी है, इसको तो अपनी पॉकेट में डाल लेते हैं जब भी. और ऐसे पॉइंट्स डिसाइड कर लिए, जैसे कि सर ने बताया था रॉबर्ट फ्रॉस्ट की जो लास्ट में जो लाइंस बताई थी, तो वो लाइन भी मैंने भी पिकअप कर रखी थी कि जब कोई ऐसे में ऐसा पॉइंट आ जाएगा जहाँ पे कुछ पॉजिटिवनेस दिखानी है या फिर मतलब कि होपफुलनेस दिखानी है, तो ये लाइन लिख देंगे। एंड इंग्लिश लिटरेचर से फ्रेंड थे, तो उन्होंने क्या कि ऐसे पॉइंट्स मुझे बता दिए कि जब भी आपको लगे किसी ऐसे पॉइंट्स पे फंस चुके हो, अब निकलने के लिए कोई जगह भी नहीं बची है, तो ये कोट रख देना। तो अलग अलग फीलिंग्स होती थी, जैसे कि आप नेगेटिव चीज़ों के बारे में आप बता रहे हो, मतलब किसी पॉइंट्स को क्रिटिसाइज कर रहे हो, उसके बाद आपको पॉजिटिव लिखना था, तो उन्होंने कोट दे दिया था कि कैंडल लाइट का कोट दे दिया था मुझे कि ये कोट लिख देना। मैं कहा परफेक्ट। फिर जब मैं पॉजिटिव चीज़ों के बारे में बात करता, फिर अब जब नेगेटिव में जाना होता तो ऐसे का फ्लो टूट जाता मेरा, तो उन्होंने मुझे वहाँ पे भी एक कोट सेट करवा दिया कि जब आप नेगेटिव बातों के बारे में लिखो, पॉजिटिव बातों में जब भी जाना हो तो ये कोट लिख देना, जब कहीं पे सॉल्यूशन बताना हो तो उससे पहले ये कोट लिख देना। इसकी तरीके से मेरा जो ऐसे था उसका जो 70% पार्ट था वो घर से ही रेडी था। जो भी कुछ आएगा नेक्स्ट, डजेंट मैटर कौन सा ऐसे आ रहा है, आई वॉज रेडी विद माई मतलब ग्रेवी तैयार थी, चाहे उसमें चाहे आलू डालो, चाहे प्याज डालो, चाहे पनीर डालो, आई वॉज मतलब कि इसलिए मेरा बस यही टारगेट था कि ऐसे के अंदर टॉपर मेरे से 20-25 मार्क्स से ज़्यादा डिफरेंस ना क्रिएट करे, बाकी पेपर्स में मैं हैंडल कर लूँगा उसको। तो मैं इस हिसाब से टारगेट करता था, तो दैट वर्क वेल फॉर मी।
Beautiful tips. Srishti, section A of essay consists of quotations, ideas, some speech or some sentence. How to manage that? Because there are so many people who are great people, legends. How many quotations do I need to keep in my bag? How did you select that part, that section A of essay paper?
Sir, I don't believe that UPSC offers those quotations because it wants us to know who that person was who wrote that particular quotation, or he wants to understand the psyche of the writer. The quotation is offered so that the writer, the aspirant, can interpret that quotation in his or her own way. So in this year's essay paper, if there was a quotation, I don't remember the exact lining, but it was something about the ships which do not sail. So a person can interpret it in different ways. A person can interpret it with his own personal journey or relate it with some anecdote. As sir already said, we can relate it to sports personalities, we can relate it to any other person who has been of certain importance in the history. For me, जैसे सर ने कहा कि ग्रेवी तैयार थी और सब चीज़ें, आई ऑल्सो टुक ऐसे एज अ स्ट्रैटेजी. आई ऑलवेज हैड दिस कि अगर ऐसे आएगा एंड अगर मुझे कोई क्लू नहीं है कि मुझे ऐसे में क्या लिखना है, तो आई स्टार्ट विथ एन एनेक्डोट. जो बेस्ट मुझे स्टोरी दिमाग में आएगी उस कोट को पढ़ के, या जो बेस्ट रेफरेंस मेरे दिमाग में आएगा, आई मेक इट into a beautiful story and start my essay from that point. Then I'll do a pestle analysis of whatever quotation I've read. तो जो मैंने लिखा पहली स्टोरी, मैंने उसका पॉलिटिकल, इकोनॉमिक, सोशल, टेक्निकल ब्रेक डाउन कर लिया और फिर मैं उस ऐसे को उसी फॉर्म में लिखती चली गई. फिर as UPSC's essays are usually expected to be ended on a positive note, on a solution based note, तो फिर I always had few poetries, few quotes in my pocket कि ये मैं लास्ट में to end it in a positive note. I remember once I was writing an essay on transparency, तो मैंने लास्ट में दिनकर सर की पोएम कोट कर दी थी, यही भेद है वहीं चैन से रहते हैं सब नर नारी, कलम उगलती आग जहाँ अक्षर बनते चिंगारी. This creates an impression in the examiner's mind कि this person can relate topics, this person has a creative streak, and this person is not a monotonous personality. And I think essay is just the expression of your personality. If अगर हम इस चीज़ को इस तरह से देखें तो शायद we can express ourselves in a better way in an essay.
Beautiful. Vasu, something personal about you, and that is your mom used to tell you stories about the achievements of civil servants, and she also wanted to be a civil servant.
Yes, sir.
So genetically that gene got transferred to you. It's a beautiful thing, but look at it from another perspective. she had great expectations from you, that hopefully you are going to fulfill her expectations or her unfulfilled dreams. How did you cope up with the expectation part? Because I see so many students, like they usually succumb to that expectation because their family, their parents, they are expecting something, and students, they think that, oh, perhaps I won't be able to deliver, and unfortunate, and sometimes they resort to some unfortunate extreme steps. How will I face my family members? So your mother's expectation from you, how did you manage that, and what will be your suggestion to those students? Everybody has some expectations from someone.
Yes.
So how to handle expectation? How did you handle that?
Sir, I think parents have expectation from the children, that is true. But sometimes we as children, we also make those expectations unrealistic or give them a different height, which is not actually put by our parents to us. So one very good thing about my parents was that although my mother wanted to become a civil servant, but she never put that pressure on me, or she never allowed that pressure to reach me, even if that pressure was there. So we had a very casual conversation whenever we were talking about civil services. In my childhood, she used to tell me stories. When I was in college, she used to just tell me ki these were the examinations she had appeared. But but that pressure that you also become, or if you become, this will happen or that will happen, that pressure was never there. But I inevitably sometimes felt that pressure. If I could not clear, what will she think, or what will my parents think? I have to fulfill that. So it was pressure not from my parents' side, but I put that pressure upon myself.
Right.
And we do that invariably, out of love, out of respect, out of various reasons. So at that time, we need to understand that pressure can be positive or negative. And when we are taking such kind of pressure, that is essentially negative. That is pulling us down. Because pressure is like this: if I'm unable to clear it, what will she think? If I'm unable to reach this, again failure. Those things. That is a negative pressure. Positive pressure would be: my mother wanted to prepare. She has some experiences. I can take that up. I can take help from her. I can take help from other people whom she knows or whom I know. So that is that thing would be there, but I am using it in a positive way. That is one thing we should be looking up to.
Right. You should not create that height that your expectation becomes negative.
Yes, sir.
It becomes a burden on you. Right.
Yes, sir.
Great. Now, Dhaval, how many books or resources should I refer to? We have multiplicity of books for every paper. Thousands of websites, hundreds of newspapers, magazines. Market is flooded. I'm a new aspirant. I just decided to prepare for IAS. What would be your caution to me regarding the resources and materials? One book for each paper, 10 books for each paper. What should be my strategy?
Sir, the minimum I can have.
Okay.
I think being minimalist is the real thing here. You can create result with your maximum potential by being minimalist here. As we are all talking, the thing is that the aspirants or the people who are watching must realize this, that this exam is not something that has a set standards parameters. It's a game, and a person who assesses the game better scores well. It's not a test of your knowledge, intellect or personality. It has every element, definitely it has every element, but it's not the sum of one thing. It's just you need to realize that this game needs strategies, this game needs certain props, and your books resources are your props, and that helps you build the background. So someone who is at the beginning phase must do the basics. Basics are NCERTs. We all know NCERTs. Then pick a book which is the standard of that subject and stick to it. Revisions, repetitions, writing, notes making. These are interconnected things. So if I am making notes when I am reading, it cut down on the repetition I had to make with different sources or different books. So that's the key. when you read diligently, understand concepts. Few topics takes time, give them that time. There are multiple resources with videos, audios, and also mentors, seniors, and there are your peers. Use them. Use your resources wisely. It's not necessary that a pile of books will get you the exam result. What will get you the result is how you efficiently use your minimum resources to their optimum utility.
Beautiful.
Can I just add?
Please.
Sorry for the interruption. Sir, if you're reading a book, say if you're reading an NCERT, we should not be reading a book to find answer to a previous question, whether that question is there in the book or not. If we are following that approach, then we would be reading hundreds of books, and then also output might be zero, or not that good the output. We should be reading a book to develop the connections, develop the understanding of the subject. So if we see the previous papers or the papers, we can easily see questions might not be directly related to what is written in the book, but if we are thorough with the understanding of that subject, we can answer most of the questions.
Yes.
Not all, but most of the questions, and
Yes.
that number is adequately enough to clear the prelims examination. There have been various examples, like last year question came in the prelims. Some book name was given, and the author's name was given, and 2-3 lines about that book. I had no clue about the author or about the book, so my content was not there, my knowledge was not there. But somehow the connection was not there in the points. It was saying that that person considered Kolkata as the heart of the nation, and the name of the author was something Chiplunkar. The name was something Marathi, and he was considering Calcutta as the center of the national movement. So I saw the contradiction in that it should be either Pune or Maharashtra or Mumbai.
Right.
So at that time I just eliminated. I'm nowhere aware of the question, nowhere aware of the author or the book. But that link, Chiplunkar Marathi, because I have read Chiplunkar some revolutionary movement, Chiplunkar Marathi, Calcutta not related. So I just eliminated that and I got the correct answer. So this is how one should be reading the concepts, not looking अच्छा वो book का mention कहाँ कौन से book में मिलेगा. अच्छा India after Gandhi में book है, उसके बारे में लिखा है तो वो भी पढ़ना पड़ेगा. That would be just adding to burden, and you will not be getting most of it. As you said, जितना कम रहेगा, that उतना better clarity होगा and उतना अच्छा revision होगा.
रिवीजन से एक बात मैं पूछना चाहूँगा आप सबसे कि गौरव रिवाइज कैसे करें? सिलेबस इतना बड़ा है, और जब मैं अपनी प्रिपरेशन शुरू करता हूँ और जब ख़त्म करता हूँ 20 कॉपी बन जाती है मेरे पास. आप रिवाइज कैसे करते थे?
सर, पीरियोडिक रिवीजन करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, लेकिन इसका सबसे सिंपल है. यदि आप इसको जितना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड करते जाओगे रिवीजन को, तो वो ज़्यादा बहुत ही आपको कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लगेगा. सिंपल सा कीजिए, 6 दिन पढ़िए, तो या तो आप दिन में लास्ट का 1 या 2 घंटा रिवीजन के लिए रख दीजिए, तो उसमें जो आपने पूरा पढ़ा उसका रिवाइज कर सकते हैं, और संडे को फ्री रख दीजिए, रिवीजन कर लीजिए. ये एक रिवीजन उसी दिन हो जाएगा, एक 7वें दिन हो जाएगा, फिर पेपर से पहले कर लीजिए, तो 3-4 रिवीजन हो जाएंगे. इससे ज़्यादा इसको कॉम्प्लिकेट करने की बिल्कुल ज़रूरत नहीं है.
पीरियोडिक रिवीजन.
जी.
And if I may ask you this question, Srishti, by rephrasing it, toppers, they don't do different things. They do things differently, right?
Right.
So what was different from your part, on your part, that you would suggest to upcoming aspirants?
Sir, if we talk about revision in this case, I think I always pursue to examination-based revision. This might not be a strategy which everybody might pursue, पर मेरे लिए work करती थी. So if I have finished a topic, I'll slowly attempt a paper for it. If I've finished polity, I'll attempt a paper. And what I used to do was, before attempting the paper, I used to revise the subject, my notes, and whatever cursory reading I used to do for Lakshmikant or any other book. Then I attempted my paper, and then I diligently pinpointed my mistakes. तो आदमी सबसे अच्छा अपनी गलतियों से सीखता है.
Right.
गलतियाँ पकड़ो, और उन गलतियों से जब आप उन्हें देखोगे तो यू वुड फाइंड कि what points are you leaving in your preparation. उसको अपने नोट्स में ही ऐड कीजिए, उसके लिए एक नए नोट्स मत बनाइए. तो यू वुड शॉर्टन योर नोट्स, यू वुड मेक योर प्रेपरेशन comprehensive yet concise, and this process is effective, efficient, because आप papers तो लगा ही रहे हैं. तो rather than investing a whole lot of time in particular revision, I used to base my revision according to my paper solving strategy.
Beautiful. And double, how to revise?
Sir, I think both of them have already mentioned the most of the important aspects of revision. My only take is that when you start minimizing your resources, you start minimizing your notes too. So as your exams comes closer, you minimize your notes, you refer to your only writings, and then you also ignore the parts. So once you have gone 2 times or 3 times in your notes, you realize what is the important part in that page, and you skip over. So that's something I think we all build over a period of time. There are many resources and many things we read over the period of time. And once we have the strategy and we are on the right track, that we have followed our reading, we have followed our writing, we have appeared in tests, we have revised the test, we have revised our notes, I think there's very little left that we need to be worried about. Obviously, revision is something that takes time to build upon. We have to develop a habit of it, and habit takes time in building up. Definitely, first when someone will start, he or she will face difficulty in reminding things or in the revision process. But it comes over, and revision is something that is very essential. It's the confidence that we carry in the examination paper in this unpredictable exam. Right. So definitely strengthen your revision capabilities.
Beautiful. Revision is must.
Definitely, sir.
Aradhana, now coming to optional part. PSIR was your optional, anthropology optional of Gaurav and Srishti, law, Basu's optional, your is PSIR. On which basis one should select optional? Because the students, they roam around here and there and they keep asking which optional is scoring, which optional is having short syllabus. So what would be your advice? How to select optional?
Optional is something that requires a certain level of expertise. We are supposed to be aware more than just the basics of the subject. So firstly, it is important what is the subject or the academic history of the student themselves. It's very important that we work on that. If it is suitable, like for me, I was already a student of political science in my school and during my graduation as well. And during my masters also, I was pursuing political sciences only. So it really helped me build the content, build the structure on which I would be attempting the paper. So choosing the right optional is something that it is very subjective to the students. What they want, they should see the subject matter, the syllabus for all the optional. Like for ma'am, she was from an engineering background, so I'm sure she must have gone through her research before choosing anthropology as her optional. So it's important that you choose your optional wisely, you do the required research, you see the interest area. Interest area is extremely important, that you understand what subject is something that you would like to study for hours at length, what subject are you ready to sit and give an exam for 3 hours, 6 hours. So that kind of mentally preparedness is required for an optional.
Okay.
For me, secondly, there is this thing, a lot of students, my juniors, they have come to me and they've asked, since we are from political sciences background, so what is more better, public administration or PSIR? Another two major different subjects of the same history, the same father figure. So we get a lot of queries regarding that, like I've received a lot of queries. And I'm like, you read the syllabus for both. Public administration and PSIR are different when it comes to giving the exam and the evaluations of what is the subject matter. So choosing what you are supposed to take as an optional is something that you are comfortable with studying. You are prepared to study, you have a basic understanding, you are ready to indulge in that subject, you are supposed to enjoy that subject. So it's very important that we focus on that.
And Gaurav, आप क्या सलाह देंगे वैकल्पिक विषय ऑप्शनल कैसे सेलेक्ट करें?
सर मेरी सलाह से मतलब कि मैं नहीं चाहूँगा कि वो लोग सेलेक्ट करें. मेरा बस होता था कि इस सब्जेक्ट को पढ़ने की इच्छा है तो लेट्स स्टार्ट इट. सो दैट इज़ नॉट ए वाइज एडवाइस. सो आई विल शिफ्ट दिस क्वेश्चन टू अदर जो कलीग्स.
कुछ बताना चाहेंगे आप कि क्राइटेरिया क्या होना चाहिए? व्हाट शुड बी द आइडियल और सम पेरिफेरी और सम होमवर्क दैट ए स्टूडेंट शुड डू?
सर मेरा ये आंसर देने से पहले एक ये था कि इट्स वेरी इंडिविजुअल स्पेसिफिक थिंग्स. मैम इज रिस्क टेकिंग, she will choose anthropology and she will struggle with that subject. I and her are comfortable with pol science, so we will stick to that, and we will feel that we want to enjoy our subject, so we will stick to that. But nobody enjoys the subjects. at least for the preparation time, at least we have to, when we get marks from that and when we are evaluated on that. So that time we never feel comfortable with that subject, we never enjoy the subject. The thing is that with UPSC, the portions you struggle, and when you keep on struggling, you get better at that. And that's a scope of improvement. For general opinion, I think optional is a part of that game, which is a little predictable and which can push your rank through.
Right.
So choose your subjects with the current trends, your understanding, of course comfort and your nature. Like you can't be uncomfortable. Ma'am, someone who comes from a different background, engineering background, people come and take a humanities optional and they do really well in that. Because they have that patience to deal with that subject. They have the compatibility to spend time with that subject and understand the nuances of scoring marks.
Right.
Optional is not, optional or UPSC's any paper is not the depth of knowledge or your expertise testing area. It's a area where you have to be ready. Whether you are ready at that in those 3 hours, that will determine your future. So you have to take these points also, that okay, I like history, I have graduated in history, then I realize that history has a long syllabus and I don't know whether how much I will be comfortable with that syllabus. Pol science, I thought, okay, I am studying IR. IR is something which we read newspapers and an article, and that covers your portion. And you realize, you see past year question papers, I think not all the portions of options need to be covered. If you have prepared 2-3 portions very well, then you can easily get away with good marks. 300 marks or more than 250 to 270 marks in any optional can be achieved without having a background. So this is a reality, and this has been continuing. People who have taken language papers or some optionals are considered to be more scoring. It's not just we can say that it can't be same for everyone, but it's a trend and it's a reality that optional, that you can take that risk, and obviously you can be rewarded from that also.
And you took law, such a lengthy subject, as your optional. You didn't feel afraid of, people didn't warn you, don't take law.
To my surprise, when I got to know people change optional, that was a surprise to me. For me, like I am a law graduate, it was by default law would be my optional, at least in my first attempt. Then later I got to know people opt for different optionals also. But I think there are certain myths associated with law optional. Law syllabus is very much defined. Paper 1 very much defined. Paper 2 only certain area we have lengthy portion. Otherwise, it's a very well defined law syllabus and a well defined paper. So I don't think there are certain that thing there is lack of. I don't think such kind of things are there with this optional.
So false assumptions.
Yes, sir. Myths associated with that marks are not awarded, material is not there, guidance is not there. I think so. There law toppers have been there. Soumya Sharma ranked 7, Vishali Singh ranked 8. This year we have some in rank 30s. We have law toppers. So we have law toppers. Material is there in the market. We know which books to read. Generally law graduates have also developed the aptitude for writing law answers. And I don't think syllabus is very wide. We have covered that in our law school, and out of our law school only 5-6 subjects we need to do it again.
Right.
So those things are, I don't think.
So when students should not just simply get carried away with the assumptions and what others say. They should firsthand they should take that experience.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, Srishti. Do I need to come to Delhi to be an IAS?
No, sir. Definitely not, sir, because I have stayed in Delhi and I have not stayed in Delhi in parts of my preparation. And in the first leg, I thought that I had to be in this city to get access to all the teachers, to the coaching, study material. Everybody used to say, Karol Bagh ki market mein sab mil jata hai turant. And people used to struggle ki wahan se kaise aayega, how would I get to know? Then when I moved to Aligarh, where my father is currently residing, I eventually found out that everything presently is in a way available on the internet. Secondly, if you do not have an access to a particular book, it would not matter much because the alternatives are also available. And thirdly, the dynamics of this place, Delhi, is not suitable for each and every person.
Right.
A person might have some benefits staying in Delhi, but this place has immense amount of challenges. The housing situations, the food, and the cost of living in this city, and also the peer pressure and self-deprivation which we are subjected on everyday basis. From the rickshaw walas to the chai walas, they are all UPSC experts, and it's tough to beat it if you start residing in Delhi in this particular region. So I believe that if you are not residing in Delhi, you are actually saving yourself from all this. And there could be some days where you might need some book, and you could always travel, order it online, get somebody to buy it from Delhi and courier it to you.
Right.
But coming to Delhi just for the sake of subjecting yourself to this peer pressure is unnecessary.
What is your take, Gaurav? दिल्ली आएंगे तभी IAS बनेंगे?
सर जैसे जैसे टेक्नोलॉजी आगे बढ़ती जाएगी जियोग्राफी का रोल कम होता जाएगा. दैट्स इज द कंक्लूजन फॉर इट.
Great. So let us take few questions from students who are. What is the best age to start preparation?
Sir, your present age, sir.
Present age.
Yeah.
Great.
Whenever the person decides that they want to prepare, start preparing.
Great.
जब जागो तब सवेरा.
जब जागो तब सवेरा. Great. Mistakes to avoid and why most people fail to clear exam in their first attempt. Gaurav babu, answer दीजिए.
ये सर पहले कि रूल्स नहीं जानते हम, सीधा एग्ज़ाम में कूद जाते हैं. फिर जो एग्ज़ाम में कूदने के बाद पता चलता है कि क्या मिस्टेक्स कर दी हमने. कि फिर जैसे 3-4 स्टेज की ये पूरी प्रोसेस है. सबसे पहले आपको मटेरियल कलेक्ट करना है, वहाँ पे कुछ मिस्टेक्स हो जाती है. फिर उसको पढ़ने का तरीका है, उसमें कुछ मिस्टेक्स हो जाती हैं. फिर वो आउटपुट निकालने का तरीका है जो लिखना है प्रीलिम्स, वहाँ कुछ मिस्टेक हो जाती हैं. कुछ आउटपुट जो मेंस पे लिखना है वहाँ कुछ मिस्टेक्स हो जाती हैं. तो ये और फिर इतनी लंबी जर्नी हो जाती है कि अप एंड डाउन्स आते हैं. जो डाउन वाली स्टेज होती है वहाँ पे हम या तो क्विट कर देते हैं या फिर हमारी एफिशिएंसी इतनी कम हो जाती है कि पूरी प्रिपरेशन में फिर वो प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करती है. तो ये 3-4 जो मिस्टेक्स हैं मेजर, जिनको और जो मार्केट के अजम्पशंस है कि आप फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में क्लियर नहीं कर सकते. आपका एजुकेशन बैकग्राउंड अच्छा होना चाहिए, दिल्ली आना आपके लिए ज़रूरी है, आपको लगातार आंसर राइटिंग करनी है. जो मतलब आंसर राइटिंग ठीक है करनी है, लेकिन मतलब जो हाइप बनाई जाती है कि इसके बिना कुछ नहीं होगा, तो वो थोड़ी सी जो मार्केट के अजम्पशंस हैं उनसे थोड़ा डिले रहे. इनके बारे जो अजम्पशन के बारे में सर ऑलरेडी बहुत बात कर चुके हैं.
Good, good. क्या मिस्टेक्स अवॉइड करना वाले? What mistakes to be avoided?
सर मिस्टेक्स
Means
प्रिपरेशन.
if I have to clear this in the first attempt.
सर प्रिपरेशन का पहला बेसिक प्रिंसिपल ही होता है कि यू नो द आइडिया व्हाट यू आर डूइंग. और हम अलग अलग बैकग्राउंड से आते हैं. बहुत बड़ा रीज़न ये है कि हमें सर्विस के बारे में पता तो है, सुना तो है, लेकिन ये नहीं है कि क्या होता है इसमें या कैसे वो उसका क्या है. हमें सब बस पता है कि एग्ज़ाम देना होता है, लोग करते हैं, सक्सेसफुल होते हैं, फेमस होते हैं और जाने जाते हैं. बट और जैसे सोसाइटी में होता ही है कि एवरी पर्सन इज जस्ट बाय सक्सेस और फेलियर उसके बाद. तो वो धारणा बदलने की ज़रूरत है. और मेरे लिए तो सबसे बड़ी बात थी कि जब मैंने 2-3 प्रीलिम्स दिए थे तो आई वॉज डेस्परेट. मतलब आई वॉज नॉट प्रिपेयर्ड बट आई वॉज डेस्परेट टू क्रॉस दिस रिवर. तो सबसे बड़ा ये रियलाइजेशन दैट वी कैन मेक मैगी इन 2 minutes बट वी कैन प्रोड्यूस रिजल्ट्स ऑफ यूपीएससी इन 2 months. सो ये सोच लेना कि 15 दिन में हो जाता है, 1 महीने में हो जाता है, या ये कर लेंगे तो वो हो जाता है, यहाँ चले जाएंगे तो वहाँ से हो जाएगा, दिल्ली पहुँच जाएंगे तो वहाँ हो जाएगा. These are the items in the menu, but it's not necessary that you will find the taste of your flavor. So you have to choose the flavor you want, be comfortable in what you are doing, and prepare that. It's not a long journey, but it will depend on you कि आप इसको कैसे करते हो. अगर जैसे मुझे 2-3 बार लगे, अगर मैंने वो सर ने बोला एक स्टैंडर्ड सेट कर लेते हो आप पहले से, तो आपको नहीं पता है पहले का स्टैंडर्ड क्या है, तो आप उनसे पूछते हो जिन्होंने किया है, आप वहाँ जाते हो जो करवाते हैं, तो वो जो स्टैंडर्ड बताता है. अगर आप उस स्टैंडर्ड पे पहुँचे हुए हो, आपको स्टैंडर्ड का रियलाइजेशन हो रहा है, देन यू साइन अप फॉर सीइंग ए रिजल्ट. और रिजल्ट यहाँ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आप कितना सीख रहे हो. हम लोग हमेशा ये हमारी भी गलती है, मेरी तो बहुत ज़्यादा रही है. आई हैव सीन दिस थिंग विथ रिजल्ट्स कि ये नहीं हो रहा है, वो नहीं हो रहा है, ये हो जाता तो वो हो जाता है, वो हो जाता है. I think let's go slow, walk on your own speed, run when you feel so, and then you will cross the line.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yes.
Great. Please.
So पहला तो ये हमें we should be clear why are we getting into it. Many people just get into it because their friends have getting into it, their parents have asked them to get into it, or just for the power, prestige, जो ऊपर की चीजें होती हैं. If that is there, that purpose is not deep rooted. That purpose will evade within 2 months, and then you can't run in this race for long. So सबसे पहले purpose अगर clear नहीं है ना, तो time even if you are preparing नहीं हो पाएगा वो.
You cannot keep yourself motivated.
वो जो उन्होंने बोला desperate,
Right.
desperation नहीं आ पाएगी. Desperation नहीं होगा, preparation नहीं होगा. Second, ये थोड़ा कड़वी बात है. Patience. मतलब when anyone takes a decision that he would be preparing for civil service, everyone comes with the view he would be clearing it in his very first attempt with the highest rank, with the first rank. Year 1 first attempt हमारा TV पे interview आएगा, सबका ये होता है. But that is not the case in 99% of the situation. किसी का होता होगा, but सब नहीं होता majority के case में. Don't run in this. Don't be in a hurry. I know various people who are in service, very deserving. They could clear the examination in the first attempt, but they're still writing in the third attempt. मतलब they have got services, not the service which they wanted. Yes. So come with some time, have some patience. भागो मत यहाँ पे. I also came with the mindset first attempt. It is my third attempt that I cleared it. इनका fifth attempt था. तो she might be writing at if required. हाँ, so हर एक का वो तो होता है फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट, बट टाइम लेके आओ थोड़ा, एंड डोंट जस्ट गिव इट अप ऑन द वेरी फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट इफ यू फील लाइक यू कैन डू इट.
Right. Srishti, I want to be an IAS, but I have no habit of studying, reading, but I am willing to do whatever you ask me to do. So how to upgrade my study skills?
If you're willing to do whatever I'm telling you, you must first be willing to study. There is no substitute of hard work in this paper. पढ़ाई आपको करनी ही है. वो आप कैसे करते हैं, अगर प्लानिंग से करेंगे तो सब चीज़ें आसानी से हो जाएंगी. If you do not plan well, if you are haphazard in your strategy and you think कि हाँ हो जाएगा लास्ट में, तो या तो आप नहीं कर पाएंगे, और अगर कर भी लिया तो आपको बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस बहुत स्टेजेस पे आएंगे. एज गौरव सर ऑलरेडी टोल्ड मल्टीपल टाइम्स कि उनके पास काफ़ी सारी सिचुएशंस की स्ट्रैटेजी, साइंस, ग्रेवी एग्जिस्ट करती थी. सो दिस इज़ अ टेस्टिमनी कि उनके पास हर चीज़ की एक स्ट्रैटेजी थी. एंड इन माई प्रेपरेशंस टू आई फेल्ट कि अगर आप स्ट्रैटेजिकली चलें तो आप जल्दी कर सकते हैं. यू कैन नॉट से कि मेरी आदत नहीं है पढ़ने की तो मैं नहीं कर पाऊँगा.
Right. So now, because we are running short of time, so what would be your suggestion in few words to all the aspirants who are watching us or who would watch us later? So let's start with Vasu.
So belief and faith. Belief in yourself, faith in this process, and trust your preparation.
Good. Belief, faith, and have patience. Right. Srishti.
Sir, I think apart from your studies, you need to take good care of yourself and stay happy. Have some moments for yourself in a week, in a day. दिन के कुछ घंटे आपको रिलैक्सेशन के लिए भी निकालने हैं, क्योंकि इफ़ योर बॉडी और योर माइंड स्टॉप्स कोऑपरेटिंग, आप कभी ये पेपर क्वालिफाई नहीं कर पाएंगे. इज़ व्हाट आई वुड लाइक टू सजेस्ट पीपल.
So stay happy, take care of yourself.
Yes.
Great. गौरव, क्या सजेशन देना चाहेंगे आप?
सर मुझे लगता है कि इस एग्ज़ाम के लिए जो सबसे ज़रूरी चीज़ है वो जिद. आपको जिद करनी पड़ेगी. जिद के बिना आप इसमें जीत नहीं सकते. छोटी छोटी चीज़ों में आप जिद करिए. जो एक फेमस डायलॉग भी है, यदि मंजिल के ऊपर नज़र है तो रास्ते अपने आप मिल जाएंगे. तो उस मंजिल के लिए जिद कीजिए. रास्ते हज़ारों हैं, कोई ना कोई आपको भी मिलेगा और मंजिल आपकी होगी.
ग्रेट. आराधना.
Adding on to what Sir said, that if there is a will, there is always a way. We should always be focused and we have to fight for it. We should have that hunger to achieve that thing, and we should always and continuously focus on value addition in our lives. That is what is the basic requirement of this exam, continuous value addition.
Beautiful. Dhaval.
Sir, for me, I would like to say that from wherever you come from, whatever resources you have, whatever you have not, it doesn't matter. There's a famous movie quote that sometimes ordinary people do extraordinary things which no one can think of. So if I can, I think everyone can.
Great. Thank you so very much to all of you for joining us. And we had a very enlightening session, and hopefully it will help upcoming IAS aspirants so they can see themselves in next year's final magic list. Thank you so very much to all of you, and
Thank
wish
you,
you
sir.
all the very best for your brilliant and enriching career. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.